ESL 1 Hamburg is brought to you in part by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, Vodafone, DHL, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, Aces Republic of Gamers, Hey Safeguard, Euronics, and Barclaycard Arena.
The kings of the comebacks, Beast Coast, will be in action in our third series of the day, but they need an opponent, which is where we are right now in our first series of the day. Alliance versus Virtus Pro, all square, 1-1, tied up, everything that you can imagine, absolutely equal. So time to head into a third and final game, and our draft is almost upon us. Men that will take you towards that are Nahaz and BSJ. Gents, it's nicely poised now. I like these best of threes that come down effectively to what becomes a best of one.
Absolutely, we hear that phrase all the time, and the last two series that we've had here, it's certainly been such a contrast between the first two games that have gotten us there. We all know stats don't lie. Sometimes maybe they fib a little bit, because if you look at Nico Baby's stats for that last game, he led in basically every category, but I actually think if you look back at the VP draft, the Jug was maybe over-countered. That all these heroes in the picking of the LC, the Ursa, the TA, all these heroes to give you answers against Jug, they never answered the Alliance team fight potential. And when Nico Baby's other four heroes are all styling, he's going to end up looking good regardless.
Yep, it's very true. As we move towards the third and final game, Ryan, what do you want to see from Virtus Pro to bounce back?
I'm just highlighting the Alliance 5-man, so I want to see Virtus Pro be able to shut that down. Consider picking the Warlock, these types of heavy team fight where you can't really just say, okay, with our last pick, we're now going to pick some team fight. You have to address that constantly throughout the draft. You know, if Alliance picks a team fight hero, you have to pick something that also either counters in the team fight or can play around in the team fight. Otherwise, you just have too many questions to answer with your last couple picks.
Draft not too far away. As you can see, the two teams are on stage, ready to go for this third and final game. That iconic trophy is waiting to be claimed tomorrow by potentially one of these two teams, or, of course, the teams that are remaining in the tournament. Beast Coast still involved, and TNC versus Gambit is our middle series of the day. It's the upper bracket final, comes up after this. And the first phase bans
will Void be available? That is, Alliance has gone for Void in every single game in this tournament when they've had first pick and it's been available.
And they've been highly successful with it too. Yep. Some other teams haven't really proven that they can play Void to its max potential. It's not just the Void player itself, but also drafting around it. Alliance has a very clear idea of what enables the Void to be successful, even if it is countered, and there it is. I expect us to look at a 33 hero later in the draft that's something like a Bristleback.
Or maybe not.
I love it. I think I said earlier, I think Beastmaster is super underpicked at this event, and this is taking a page out of the TNC playbook. This is going to be a 3 Beastmaster and a 4-position Enigma, and we just got done talking about this BSJ, that when you shift those heroes that are traditionally 3 into that 4-position role, all of a sudden their ulti becomes this nice complementary piece in the black hole rather than something that you have to build a team fight around.
Wyvern, I was going to say Wyvern's too good here.
Well, they had a choice, didn't they? Wyvern or the Rubik.
You have to pick Wyvern because it also deals with the Beastmaster. The Beastmaster represents not only himself, but the rest of his team dealing a lot of physical damage. So Cold Embrace always goes up in value, and then the Winter's Curse, they always kill their teammate because they have the inner Beast attack speed aura, as well as the Wyvern Curse giving them the bonus attack speed. It just addresses both heroes at once. And if you're ever given a pick that can do that, you take it almost every time.
Do you still win the Rubik in the second phase if it gets through?
I think it's...
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. I just think it's not as high priority as Wyvern, since Wyvern addresses both heroes, but I'm assuming VP will either ban it or we'll see it picked by Alliance.
It's interesting though, because we've seen Wyvern in this tournament mostly as a counter to the Faceless Void rather than as a pairing with it, but I agree, the hero matchups on the other side dictate that, and I love Alliance just immediately taking out the Alchemist. If you're going to run those TNC strats, we're not going to let you have a Gabby hero. Or Armel, for that matter.
One thing I like about Enigma is that it's funny that they banned this Omni Knight. I thought immediately what it does is it's a hero that ignores status resistance, it ignores saves. You can't dispel the black hole. So they're getting rid of heroes that I thought Enigma was kind of good against. So I'll have to kind of see what their next picks are. That'll probably explain why the Omni Knight was taken out before the second round of picks.
Because if they want it, they could take the Legion Commander.
That is the 33 Classic, but generally speaking, we see the Tides, the Bristlebacks, these heroes that just sit there. It just sits there in front, and if you don't go on it, then your fight is really awkward, and if you do go on it, you have the Void to counter-initiate with the Chrono. Since they already have the BKB Piercing Black Hole disable, I don't think you really need to concern yourself with that. Now you just need to make it hard to choose what target exactly you want to go on. Something that, like you said, that kind of just interrupts,
so
disrupts
the
follow-up.
but they've left the Rubik on the table.
Yes.
So.
Again, I just think they're thinking about the lanes right now. I think, again, this is straight out of the TNC playbook, and VP is just looking to own the lanes early and apply that broad map pressure. Again, the games that Void has looked bad in this tournament are the games where he's been behind early, and he's not a flash farmer, naturally. He's not, before he gets that Maelstrom, he doesn't have the ability to dip back into the jungle like an Alk or a TA and catch up off of a bad lane.
I wouldn't mind a Witch Doctor, something that is good against the Chen, but also represents damage for the Chrono. Something of that nature. They could go the other route, like you said, with the Rubik. Mirana's still in the pool, but then you're kind of lacking damage. There's a lot of routes Alliance can go here. I'm almost certain they're going to pick their other support. But with that in mind, it's probably not going to happen.
Do you think Virtus Pro might quite like the Mirana as well?
I think they already picked their support duo. I don't think they have room for the Mirana.
Right, that's true.
I don't think you want to run it as a core.
It's surprising to see it have gotten this far into the draft, being neither picked or banned. I don't know if I love Chen. It's like I really like it, the Wyvern against this whole concept of like the summons push strat. Wyvern's just so good, not only because of the Winter's Curse, but also the Splinter Blast, one of the best deep-pushing spells in the entire game.
But again, it's just when you think about the mid game, the region of the game that Alliance has been taking over, it gives you a long cooldown to play around. Come on, Paul. You wanted a Rubik, right?
Well, I didn't want a Rubik. I thought it would be Rubik. I mean,
it is damage.
The Jakiro is what they've, it's become their bread and butter over the last couple of events, so.
Particularly with the Void. I mean, dumping damage into the Chronosphere. And the other thing is, when you see a Void and you see a Chrono, what you're going to see a lot of on the other side are saves, like Shadow Demon, SD, etc. Epi, Kid, PL, right now.
Made it through. They decided to go with the Bloodseeker and the Alk in that second phase ban, and the PL gets through. It's a strong Virtus Pro lineup, this one, isn't it?
42 kills, 2 deaths, 32 assists in 4 games on PL at this event. EpiKid has made this hero look just amazing relative to any other PL player we've seen in this patch.
Could they just do Brew again? Is that like too crazy? Like you have the AoE Dispel that does, I think, 6,000 damage to the illusions.
Too many. I get real nervous if you start picking Brewmaster here because you have so many cooldowns to play around then.
You can look at it like Underlord maybe?
You know what they're going to do now? They're just going to pick a Venno and then a Dragon Knight and just go for the Dragon strat.
The lore-themed strat?
Void Dragon?
Void Dragon strat.
Okay, all right. It'll work. I'll take it.
I'm just waiting for the Dragon versus the Spirit.
Much better. You need a hero that can be aggressive in lane, that can play behind towers early on, and that can skirmish, right? Because you pick another long cooldown there as Alliance, and I think you cede the mid game to Virtus Pro, which is pretty much a death sentence for how you like to play.
What we saw yesterday was Virtus Pro picking Underlord against NIP's push strat, which was representing this early pressure. I was thinking Underlord this game because it represents like a wall for the push, so you have a hero that's just super beefy that you plant yourself in front of towers. And I really like the Timbersaw pick because it actually does better against PL than a hero like Underlord, and it also still does that exact job, right? Once he gets to the level 3 or 4 in reactive armor, they don't really have the damage in the early and mid game to bring him down.
Is the Tide something that Alliance could look back to?
That would mean this is probably a mid Timbersaw. I wouldn't mind if they pick a flex pick, something like a Puck for the, like, who was it that did that yesterday? Was it TNC or what was it?
I don't remember whether it was TNC, but it was one of the games that we did. I think you guys hit on a key point, though, regarding the Timbersaw, is that when you see this for the old Alliance, it was always going to be a boxy hero.
Yeah.
When you see that in this team, Imp will play Timber mid, 33 will play it off lane. This is much more open in this draft.
Yeah. If they leave the last pick to go either mid or top, it would make their last pick on Virtus Pro much more complicated because you don't just have a clear lane matchup. I think a hero like Puck also does very well in lane against PL. So you kind of cover a lot of the bad matchups in the mid lane that Timbersaw might face. And you don't love putting Timbersaw in the side lane here unless you're ready to support it or put it maybe solo safe lane, just because even though he does have reactive armor, in the early levels they have a lot of very strong laners on the side of Virtus Pro that he may struggle.
Yeah, I think I still think there's a good chance that you see this Timbersaw in the side lane, despite what we're saying. I think just because I think you might pivot back to Alina, something that is a comfort hero for Limp in the mid lane and can still dump damage into that Chronosphere. But I would also not be surprised to see a little bit of a cheese pick for 33 here.
What about Visage? Is that too crazy?
I think your your Visages, your Broods, your Meepos are still on the table here. Even with one pick on the board for VP.
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, you want to give Virtus Pro something to think about with this last pick, don't you? You don't want to just pick what you want to play and then Virtus Pro get a 10th pick. We know takes all kind of hero.
The hero that wouldn't commit you if you did want one of those lineups that are 5 and you're not sure what the lanes are going to be would be a Leshrac. If you really wanted to keep
or the Lina still makes them guess a little bit, doesn't it?
Side lane Lina is not as accepted as side lane Lesh, but yeah.
Lesh and Puck are my premier doing what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not opposed to the idea of a 33 cheese pick here. The Leshrac is the one hero that, again, this is a very nice strategic draft out of Fata. I think he knows what he wanted in terms of boxes being checked behind the chrono. I like this Alliance draft a lot.
They are really enabling or disabling PL from being able to participate in the early to mid game fights. Like even if he wants to hit people, even if they're disabled, a lot of these heroes just dish out damage while they're disabled. The Leshrac ultimate, the Timbersaw ultimate, he just spams their AoE spells from the supports like Jakiro. Jakiro in the early to mid game can actually be really annoying for a hero like PL. You can't like doppelganger dodge Macropyre and Ice Path. It's just there, right? You have to avoid it.
And the difference is, right, we see a lot of these PL games where PL may feel very countered early on, where he may feel countered even through the 30-minute mark, but at some point, the scaling just isn't there against him. And Leshrac guarantees, and Timbersaw guarantee that you're gonna have that scaling. PL is still going to feel countered, even if he gets off to a lead in this game.
I need to see another hero from no one here that does scale, because otherwise in the late game, PL's just gonna get chronoed, and I think you lose.
I think you just pick for mid one to just crush his lane. I think you pick a hero mid one. You're going to be facing either Lesh or Timber in that mid lane. What do you want that's just going to destroy that matchup?
Invoker.
Well,
I don't mind Invoker.
I wish.
Invoker scales, it disrupts.
All right, baby.
No, it's good against Timbersaw. Eventually, it's a natural Spirit Vessel builder, pretty much something you're going to have to buy this game, and it's a disruption for the Chronosphere, right? Like, you use the Tornado to throw the Void up in the air to protect your PL, and it's a hero that if you don't chrono him, then he's going to pretty much own the entire fight.
This is one of the more dead even drafts that we've had in this tournament. This is, if you literally could have let me pick heroes for these two teams going into this game 3, these are the heroes that I might well have picked. This is strength versus strength. We know exactly what these two teams are going to want to do. This is going to be an amazing game 3.
All right, I hope you're right, because we are headed into game number 3. Let's hand you back over to Cap and Blitz for that third and final match.
You know, there's nothing that gets Nahaz more excited than player-hero combinations, and we've got some iconic ones in this one, Blitz.
Yeah, we have Epileptic Kid playing Phantom Lancer. So for everybody that doesn't know, if you are good enough to be in those pub games, which I assume everybody is, he got really famous. Yeah, you guys are all like 10K. He got really famous from playing PL and TB. Every game, he plays PL and he plays TB. That's what he's gonna do.
That's what he does. And of course, Nahaz was a little bit more excited about the No One Invoker.
Yeah.
That's what he was really referring to, as well as the Nico Baby Void. He has had some excellent performances this season.
What are you laughing about?
I just thought the deadpan way of how you immediately referred to Epileptic Kid.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of everybody else and their iconic heroes.
No, when I think of pub heroes, it's him and PL. It's kind of like Badman and Spectre, you know?
Oh, yeah,
I haven't heard in a while, but...
Yeah, remember when he was the potential name people were throwing out there.
Yeah, but what matters is realized potential cap.
Yeah.
We'll get to see if he gets to continue in the tournament. Remember, VP CEO, I mean, he put them on the spot. He said, we'll see how they do at this event.
Oof.
They are quite figuratively and literally playing for their careers here.
And I think this is like, you're right on the cusp. You've done okay at this event. You certainly haven't bombed out, but...
One more spot up against an alliance that won a Dream League and won the major calls. I think that might give you enough confidence to want to continue with this team. And so the stakes for them are incredibly high. And for Alliance, you know, they haven't run into too many tests this season. They've rolled over all opposition. This is do or die for them, one game away from being eliminated.
Yeah, it's not good enough to prove you're the best in Europe. You gotta prove you can beat some of the other regions as well here against the CIS Virtus Pro. Try and go for the contested bounty runes. Speaking of the drafts and all these iconic heroes, who do you actually favor here? Because we did have this last pick, Invoker. Quaswex Invoker, very nice versus the Timbersaw. Can be rather disruptive for heroes like Void and Leshrac. It was good last pick. Was it good enough to win the game for them, though?
I think so. I actually do like VP's draft a lot. I think that one-to-one hero counters, if you look at Alliance's heroes, I do think they're stronger. But I think overall synergy, I do like the way that VP's lineup looks.
Oh, yeah.
I think that VP, or Alliance.
You like the way Alliance's synergy works a lot more, right?
No, I actually like VP's. You like Alliance's?
I mean, I see VP's lineup, like, individually, I see, like, okay, this hero works against this hero, but, like, together, I just feel like it's... You've got an Enigma and a Chen.
Yeah.
You've got two junglers.
I think it works because they've got a Beastmaster and a Quaswex Invoker. That'll play very fast.
So you actually think that, do you feel like VP has the draft advantage as well?
I think it's like, it's real close, but I think I would prefer to play VP's lineup.
Yeah.
I think, like, for example, this Timbersaw will be annoying, but they have a Spirit Vessel carrier. They've got good lockdown for him. Midnight Pulse is real good against that hero.
In order to make this like a little bit of a greedy lineup from VP work, though, it's got to be a lot of this off the back of no one's Invoker, right? This is your
that's really what
only
I'm
real playmaker.
If it wasn't no one playing this hero, and if it wasn't no one, then I might be swerving on my decision. But
yeah,
I feel like he was so good in it yesterday.
See whether or not he is able to put the pin together to make this work.
I think Beastmaster has an incredibly free lane.
Yeah. Especially with two supports behind him right now, because they've just left the Phantom Lancer 1v1 against the Timbersaw, and it's a lane that actually seems to work just fine for him. So all that experience of spamming PL has clearly given VP the information that they can.
I think what they realize is there's no point in tri-laning or dual laning against this Timber. You don't have any kill threat. Like, you're an Enigma Chen. The Chen itself doesn't really do anything. Like, as long as PL has access to the courier at all times, and he gets to just spam out regen, I think he's perfectly okay with this. Like, it's annoying, sure, but this is sort of just what Timbersaw does. As long as you're getting XP in some farm, I think he's perfectly fine, which he is. He still has 11 CS, not contested that hard. Nico Baby at top lane has 8 to his name. Meanwhile, Rezo has more or less free farm.
Wouldn't be the first time that a team has tried to shut down Nico Baby's lane. In fact, VP did it before in this series. With the double dragon support duo here, Hanskin and Fada.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to tri-lane this, but all this means is Save doesn't have to use any of his mana to try to deny any of the range creeps or anything. He can just farm. That this Greed is not going to get punished. All of a sudden, he's going to rock up with the Helm of Dom, and none of the supports on the lines can challenge him.
Yeah.
Ideally here, you either win your tri-lane and completely secure your Void farm, which they're not really doing either, because the lane's going to get pushed in and neither of them can deal with the boar very well. Everyone's just farming now. Like, look at this. Solo's level 3.
He's dead. That's going to be your first blood. 33 just chased him down. He used a full healing salve, tried to juke out 33, and he just kept running at him the entire time. Meanwhile, mid lane, this would be a great gank for VP to try and even up the odds here. Limp survives off the Fairy Fire. The second round of stones is going to be able to land and secure the kill, but Solo has gone in deep for this kill and may be turned around on by Fada. Just a little bit more damage, but it's not enough. Fada can't dive past no one's Invoker.
Yeah, that's the only thing that can happen for them, is the kill on Epileptic Kid at bottom. That is the rough situation when he's going to get 6 now on Timber and just zone this PL out, because the rest of his 2 lanes are winning. So as long as you trade somewhat evenly, you'll be okay. And maybe some timely bashes will mean the end of Rezo, but he jukes around the correct tree. The boar slow is enough to deter Nico Baby, who wants to go back for all that CS.
Epileptic Kid, man, this
Oh,
is
he's
just
dead
not
again.
a lane he can sit in any longer. And I'm not sure what else they can do here. Like maybe put Invoker bottom and the PO mid against the Leshrac. Well, that sounds terrible.
I actually think you have to kind of just continue to let this happen. This is the one downside of your draft. The other two lanes look perfectly fine, but this lane is gonna struggle hard. You have to just hope though that it's a Timber saw. Like everybody kind of knows what Timber does.
Yeah.
They are in fact gonna swap lanes, but Beastmaster versus Timbersaw doesn't sound too favorable either.
No, that is a bad matchup for sure. Just like the basics of, hey, I summon this unit that's gonna help me out. Well, it doesn't actually do anything against Timbersaw because he just tanks the extra damage, gets more reactive armor stacks.
I don't know about the swap because I think maybe Rezo's too far behind. He's only level 3. This Timber's level 6.
You have to find a way to basically do like a little bit of creep cutting shenanigans. That's your only play against this. Epileptic Kid shows up to the top lane. Is immediately going to die. The time dilation slowing him down enough. Alliance just dominating VP now. When it comes to the laning phase, they're going to try and chase down Solo. No lucky bash for Nico Baby.
I feel like by making this switch, you're just going to lose 2 lanes now instead of 1.
Yeah.
Rezo's probably going to die here.
Radiant's bottom tower.
This rate, he's going to TP out. Whirling Death not up in time.
But I feel like he's ruined his own game by making this lane swap. Like every time he shows up in lane, he's just going to get run at.
Is under attack.
Well, this is going to put an abnormal amount of pressure on No One's Invoker, who we already said was going to be the key for making this draft work. He was really the only playmaker on their side for a lot of the early game. And now, seeing these side lanes lose, his team is probably telling him, boy, I hope you're ready to start rotating, because
Radiant's
this is not going well at all. He's going to pick up an Invis rune, but you really can't ask much of an Invoker until he has like his Urn in level 8 or 9.
Yeah, let's see what happens when he gets his items though. They're still tri-laning up at top. You've got this Enigma free farming in the jungle. This Chen has run into Limp here, should go down. Not really sure.
Trying to get some creeps and doesn't work out. Alliance will manage to keep their stack alive. In fact, Limp can farm that up after the Shrine too. Meanwhile, 33 is just going to start playing deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
On
So
the enemy
as a
side.
result of the lane swap, I mean, Rezo's just jungling anyways because he can't sit against this Timbersaw.
Yeah.
I would have rather the PL be in this position, Rezo stay up at top, fight with his boars.
Phantom Lancer's a pretty proficient jungler anyway, right? Like he
Yeah.
can get level 4 or 5 and just start doing
Look at
like,
this. This
TPs.
is what they're gonna do anyways. They realized at the same time that that was the play, and I think they realized it maybe a little bit too late because he was doing great up here, and I think VP's like, wait a second, this actually had no purpose to the game whatsoever.
Well, 33, we'll see whether or not he's going to come up to this top lane to try and help defend, because VP's no one has shown up to be able to get a pick onto Fauna with the Chen and Eidolon. So you're going to try and hit this tower. Alliance, are they going to respond? Are they just going to ignore this and play for their solo lanes?
I think what you do is you let Epileptic Kid hit level 8, and he can push back the wave at bottom once he gets enough stat items anyways.
Yeah.
To get treads. And eventually the Timbersaw will have to move. Like he does, he moves towards top right now. Now you can farm bottom if you're Epileptic Kid.
That was the real point of what VP was doing top, right? They didn't think they were actually going to take that tower. They thought they were going to force the Timbersaw to rotate around. The slowdown of the Cold Snap as well as the Boar is going to result in the kill. Fana cannot get around that EMP, but Timbersaw with the haste rune, as strong as he is, he can dive as many towers as he wants to and be perfectly fine. He's going to be able to get the counter kill onto Resolution and help join this Leshrac in pressuring the mid tower. The Golems will eventually die. They're trying to tank up some Diabolic Edict stacks, but as it is, mid-tier 1 tower soon to fall, and VP getting really nothing out of it in exchange. Just some neutrals. Unable to get the last hit, but still the tower falls all the same.
Some jungle coming in. Nico Baby has swap lanes towards bottom. Epileptic Kid still keeping up at least. His levels are just fine.
Time to give Nico Baby a little bit more solo experience. He was quite far behind Faceless Void is a carry that's still reliant on levels, not just the farm. So Timbersaw's gonna run around the map, creating a lot of space for him with his double bracer magic wand build.
Yeah, it's so unlikely they kill him.
Reactive armor.
You just sort of, when Timbers get this fat, you just have to ignore them. You don't fight into them, not until you get the items at least. You just sort of work around them, and whenever they show up, you just run.
That is something Epileptic Kid is going to have to do here. Already using the Doppelganger is just going to mean that 33 very quickly cuts through the illusions and finds the real one. Doesn't hit that Timber Chain and is going to be stalled up by the Tornado. Missing his mana. He does have a Soul Ring as well as Magic Wand stacks, so he can still stick around for sure. In fact, if anything, might still be able to catch Epileptic Kid. Managed to dodge the Chakram. Can't really get away from the Whirling Death, and that last chain, it also doesn't hit Epileptic Kid. He's got a Doppelganger up. Should be able to get to the other side of the cliff right as the Chakram comes out. Really nicely done. Epileptic Kid showing off some smooth moves there.
Scared me a little bit.
Yeah. While that was happening, though, bounty runes abound for Alliance. I think they got 3 out of the 4. Primal Roar being used on Nefada.
He wants to earn charges on no one.
Yeah. He TP's in to be able to get those earn charges. He'll feel a lot better with his Cold Snap combo.
Kind of be down to see Greaves right now on this Timbersaw.
Yeah. Anything to get rid of that Spirit Vessel when it comes up, right? Cleanse off the Cold Snap and such as well. They gotta try and maybe trade off tier 2 for tier 1. Top tower's already dead, but the Timbersaw being bottom lane, they may still want to ignore this push. Meanwhile, Limp just taking full advantage of the jungle. He hasn't tried to join too much in these objectives. His allies have been stacking for him. He's just trying to make himself the biggest Timbersaw he can be. Now trying to slow down Solo, who is very much caught. And probably the bad part is, in these situations, losing your neutrals as well. So as a 5 position, you actually feed away a lot more golden experience than you normally would. Bottom tier 2 tower does get traded out. Save is here. He does have Black Hole, 1 level of Midnight Pulse, but
And he just got to farm away right now.
yeah, there's
Top lane has already been taken, so maybe it's on him to push out the lanes, allow Epileptic Kid to just farm out the triangle and allow his natural instincts to kick in. I mean, he's played a lot of PL. I'm sure he's been in some bad situations before. But Alliance right now, on the back of this Timbersaw by 33, who's being an absolute king, just running in non-stop, doesn't seem to care about anything. He's playing his hero really well. I hate when Timbersaws just stick towards that bottom lane for the entirety of the game. If you're this strong, you want to abuse the fact that you're this strong.
trying to slow down Limb. Do manage to get the Primal Roar on him, and the Winter Wyvern just can't really stall this too much. He does manage to get the heal, the Cold Embrace, and with that AoE damage, Limb still managed to get the kill on Resolution. Meanwhile, the Invoker's going to be chased down by 33, trying to slow him down with a Chakram a little bit. Long enough for Hanskin to maybe close the distance, but actually don't have any slows other than that. No one doesn't have Ghost Walk for a little bit of time, but the face boost does manage to get him away from that Ice Path. And that should be good enough.
33. He is abusing his Timbersaw right now. He had such a good start. He's taking advantage of the fact that he's so strong. He wants to just run at these towers, help his team out. This is a really cool way to play Timber. He's enabling everybody else's game by being so front forward.
Yeah. And instead of going for the more expensive Guardian Greaves, instead he's going to go for the Lotus Orb, which will give him a little bit more armor, but still has that...
a lot of single target on the side of VP too.
Oh yeah, for sure. 33 going to find himself stopped by the Cold Snap, loses some mana, but that's why he built a Soul Ring.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Save with this forward position Enigma and Helmet Dominator. He has to try and push out the side lanes, but that does get him caught by Nico Baby here with an easy Chronosphere kill. Now a Maelstrom on Nico Baby, so his farm is just going to pick up. This Timbersaw is creating so much space, and I feel like Limp and Nico Baby are taking full advantage of that. Instead of trying to join him and pressure VP's map, they are just min-maxing the hell out of the map. And as a result, those three are your top net worth of the game. Alliance leading by 3K.
I guess when you get the defusal on the PL, maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable taking these fights. You'll have a ton of mana burn. But as it stands, I mean, you just kind of have to put an Alliance in a position where they feel like they have to go for the high ground. Sort of feels similar to last game, but this time around, VP do have a little bit better team fight.
Radiant's middle tower is
But Alliance are so strong. And all three of their cores in a very healthy lead compared to VP's. 33 is diving in real deep right now. They don't have earn charges either to deal with him, nor do they have the Spirit Vessel anyways.
middle tower is under attack.
No one just needs a bit more farm.
Yeah, but they already have Lotus Orb.
That's true. He's already got the counter before it's up.
Look at this. There's 3 heroes mid right now. I think Beastmaster might be TP'd in.
He's gonna start running in from the side if he can actually get a Primal Roar,
There's
but he
5
can't get
heroes.
away with the Timber Chain.
And they're running away from him right now. There's literally 5 heroes. They have to kill him here.
I mean, they just don't have a whole lot of magic damage. They do manage to grab mid-chain with the Primal Roar into the black hole. Wow. 1v5, 33, he's strong, but not too that strong. But now, the rest of Alliance have now shown up. They have all that farm on the Leshrac and Void. Able to get a fast kill on Epileptic Kid's Phantom Lancer.
Does not take 3 ultis to kill him.
No, and they actually have Chronosphere coming back up in 10 seconds, so they can keep on fighting if they want to. They don't need the Timbersaw anymore because 33 bought enough space that a lot of their cores are online. VP, just take this opportunity to try and split push as much as possible. There's the Spirit Vessel now. Being flown out on the Courier.
Radiant are scanning.
Save, going straight for a BKB that obviously will not be able to ensure the black hole every single time. There's both the Winter Wyvern's Winter's Curse as well as the Chronosphere Resolution.
There's a lot of different ways to cancel through, but I mean, at least make it easy so that you don't get screwed over by things like Ice Path. As Rezo's gonna go down now, and Alliance are just...
Okay, well, they showed Fada in the mid lane, and they see those 2 cores up top. They're like, okay,
Pick up those charges.
We can get that pick. We can get those charges. We'll see the 1v5 once again. If they had not gotten that Primal Roar off, stopping the chain, it would have been a 5-man rotation for nothing. But as it is, they finally did kill 33's Timbersaw, but the joy of that kill did not last long.
No, not at all. I feel like they should have anticipated that move, by the way.
Yeah.
And look,
Go Baby starts off with a bash on to save, but save. He does have a tornado buying him some time, but that's why Limp shows up with his boots of travel. Leshrac, he's so fast already, but with boots of travel, he's going to be in every single engagement.
And 33 goes back to hitting this tower. I think he told himself, well, the only way that they killed me was nobody backed me up. I got roared, black holed, and 5 heroes dump spells attacks into me. And I still maybe could have gotten out if I had an Ice Path.
Yeah. Something as little as your 5 positions sitting behind you could have made a 1v5 successful for Alliance. They're just going to continue to clear through. Now they just want to be able to cut the waves, make the map much smaller, make it so VP do not get a whole lot of space to push out, like no one's going to try and do here at the bottom lane. Epileptic Kid is constantly pushing in top. Doesn't ever want to return to the base at this point, because as soon as they get locked inside their base, not only are they going to get out-farmed, but they may give up Roshan at some point. Successful for Alliance, they're just going to continue. Oh, he's going to go back for the Guardian Greaves. Making it so he's got so many options to be able to deal with
2 ways
Snap Spirit Vessel.
Having 2 ways to deal with it is really nice, just because you assume he's got multiple charges.
Yeah, there's Malefice as well.
Yeah,
that little mini stun can
There's
also
actually
be
so much
fun
single
stuff.
target that bothers you in this game.
Yeah. Alliance Just keep on cutting through. They're going to maintain this high ground vision and just play up here constantly. It's not the kill that they were really wanting, but still fine positioning, taking away all his neutrals, especially with how little space you have. This is the worst feeling for a Chen, because you come back and you're like, I can't even get into the jungle to take some neutrals because we don't have a whole lot of jungle that we control anyway. And what little we have, it's probably being farmed up by my cores.
Plus, this phase of the game is where I feel like VP should have felt strong. They've got a Quaswex Invoker, a Beastmaster, a Chen. You should be able to just like run as a 3-4-man hit squad and kill things. But 33 feels nigh unkillable. I mean, we saw how hard it was to take him down at just like the 15-minute mark in the game.
Yep.
It's not normal for the offlaner to take that much to kill, but just goes to show you what a good start he had. He's gonna tank up this Roche. It's gonna be an easy one. Nico Baby's gonna pick it up.
And 33 is already defending the bottom lane out. They do have the Diffuser Blade on that Phantom Lance. He's trying to burn all his mana with the illusions. That way he can stop chasing, but the 33 actually still has enough mana pool that he might be able to chase down the Phantom Lancer entirely. There is going to be Shrine. That is up. Epileptic Hit, though, baits out the Timber Chain and goes the other direction. Smart move by him, knowing that it was very likely he'd be going for the Shrine Resolution. Trying to go for the Bounding Runes is going to get caught here by Alliance while Epileptic Kid gets out. Their other core does not. Neither does Solo. Nico Baby bash after bash by him.
Anytime he gets run into by anybody, he's a free kill at this point.
That is certainly true. No one trying to make some moves onto the left track. No such luck there. As they shrine up and prepare to assault the high ground. Because it's very clear that Virtus Pro can't fight them. Best way to go about things, just force the high ground. And now it's up to our Enigma to try and find a good black hole without a BKB and without a Blink Dagger. There's so many disables on the side of Alliance.
You sort of just have to run into it. Look at how far back Fada is.
Yeah.
He will always be there with the Ice Path, with his positioning. Both supports, in fact, just hitting way far behind.
Okay,
they know they can just let 33 hit. Still have the Aegis. They should just walk up this hill and be unafraid on these two cores. That's exactly what they're doing.
Locking down the two. They're going to be able to get resolution as well as no one. A perfect duo to be able to block down, especially with the Macrofire Ice Path. The
Black Hole does nothing.
The Black Hole just controlled up 33. That's all it did. It didn't really do any damage at all. And Alliance are now sitting and looking at Virtus Pro saying, you really don't have much left at all. Even with the buybacks, there's no damage that's going to be coming out. A great Winter's Curse actually catching Epileptic Hit and putting him on top of no one. They're going to be able to get the chain stun out. Elastrak trying to finish off. No one will be able to do so. And this is looking like a game that Alliance just is unstoppable. They're going to be able to chase down some more heroes. His save is going to be caught by the Timber chaining on back. They'll leave Solo for now. They don't need to kill him. They're going to try and go for a bigger quarry in Epileptic Kid. Pulling back that Chakram, not quite slowing down Epileptic Kid enough. 33 is now going to be burned out of his mana. He does have 19 Magic Wand charges as well as a Soul Ring, enough to be able to get a Timber Chain for sure. But Alliance, diving in so deep, haven't actually finished off the barracks yet. Perhaps a bit of oversight as they are trying to chase down and beat VP out of this game.
Oh, Solo.
Just like Solo's being done right now. Nico Baby still has that Aegis, so that's why he's diving in so fearlessly. But eventually, they're just going to be burned out of mana and may not feel good about forcing these fights anymore. So it looks like, yeah, Alliance are going to back up and we'll have to just content themselves with shrines and buybacks being used on the side of VP.
We saw that Solo Black Hole in this mid lane engagement after trying to slow down this Timbersaw.
He really did nothing. It didn't even stop damage because he already had the Chakram out.
I actually think that was their only way to fight, is if he hit some sort of like sick 4-man Black Hole. The funny part is they didn't even bother canceling it. Like,
yeah, whatever.
All right. Sure.
It's a Timbersaw. It's a Timbersaw who already used Chakram and it was just sitting there channeling the entire time.
He was slowly regenning off of his stacks.
True.
He's just like, this is an okay, comfortable spot to be in.
And like, you would just rather see Save not use a Black Hole at all in that fight.
Yeah.
Rather than that.
It's got to be the threat.
You have to, like, the only way you're turning around this game is a damn near miracle Black Hole, you know? And that wasn't it. So wait for a better opportunity. Because Alliance will give you more opportunities as they're going to go high ground very soon. 30 seconds left for the Black Hole.
They're going to smoke. I mean, the team lacked damage before. I'm not sure where it's going to come from now.
They got to get some sort of like wraparound or somehow get into this back line. That's where Resolution's heading to. He's here with the smoke.
He's got to find somebody, but they have so
Have
many
a whole lot
different
of damage to
defensive
follow it up.
abilities.
An early
Like
Shadow
Overkick.
Blade. Maybe Epileptic Kid can, with this Primal Roar, quickly execute some of these supports. Immediately gets on top. Fauna has to doppelganger right away. There goes that Primal Roar laid onto the Hanskin. They do have the Meteor coming in, but it's a little bit too slow and just not enough damage. Resolution with the time dilation on him is so slow. 2 down, Virtus Pro. Now left with 3. Well, make it just 1, because this 2-man Chronosphere is going to take down both No One and Save quite easily and force Virtus Pro to call the GG.
I really think that as well as Alliance played, VP shot themselves in the foot when they decided to go for the lane change.
Yeah.
They were doing fine at top, they were doing fine in mid. Then when they decided to send the Beastmaster bottom, the PL died anyways at top. Now your Beastmaster's level 4 and he can't enter the lane at bottom. He immediately has to TP out and he's forced to jungle anyways. So instead of ruining one game really hard, you decided to tank 2 lanes really badly.
Well, I can tell you there's a lot of fans here at Hamburg that are quite happy to see Alliance move on. I talked to a few people this morning. A lot of Alliance fans out there, as they are the greatest hope for Europe at this tournament, so they will be moving on. Virtus Pro, who have had some good times at this tournament, and it looks like they've grown a bit, still a lot more improvements to be done.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I personally thought that the squad looked very good. They just had 1 or 2 of those moments where, like bottom, when they made that rotation, that feels like inexperience to me. Maybe Epileptic Kid is telling his team, like, I can't deal with this lane, so he needs to swap out, instead of just going to the jungle, because I feel like PL level 5, jungle just fine.
All right, well, a fast end to that game 3, but that means we can move on to our next series. But first, we got to talk to our panel, talk about Alliance, moving on further at ESL 1 Hamburg.
Thank you very much, Cap and Blitz in the commentary booth for our first series of the day. And congratulations to Alliance. They are moving on, not just holding the hopes of Europe, but also of Germany here in Hamburg with Captain Fatter at the helm. We've got Nahaz and BSJ helming our panel right now. They're going to give you their thoughts on the third and final game. Gents, that was much more like the Alliance that we saw last weekend and saw in the group stages.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we talked a lot in the first couple of games about Solo countering Nico Baby, and are they ready for the Bloodseeker, and have they countered the Juggernaut? It was real clear that Fata was ready for the Epi Kid PL. That PL had no chance in this game. The lane swap obviously set them behind in the early game, but it's not just the PL that was countered. I think the Alliance lineup also plays very well against the other 4 heroes of Virtus Pro.
I just want to highlight the 3rd and 4th pick for the Alliance draft. I just think they were too good. The Jakiro pick not only synergizes really well with the Void, but it also D-pushes, which counters the entire strategy of VP. And then you have the Timbersaw, which also synergizes with your entire lineup because it puts damage into the Chrono. And then it's just this wall hero that you saw at 33. Every time VP tried to group up and take towers, he just planted himself in front, and they couldn't deal with him. And I want to give props to this Lotus Orb purchase. It just makes him and his entire lineup unkillable, because their main source of, like, lockdown other than the black hole is the cold snap plus the urn, and that just gets removed by the Lotus Orb. And he does that not only for himself but his entire team, and it's well executed, beautifully done by Alliance.
It's tough, isn't it? Because it's a game of small mistakes, Nahaz, and small mistake in the potentially in the draft. Easy for us to look back and say it was a small mistake now, but also in the lanes in the early part of this game as well were also some issues as well. So they didn't make it easy for themselves, Virtus Pro, did they?
Yeah, and I think that small mistake theme feeds back into something that we've been talking about throughout the event, with these teams being early in the season, new rosters still adjusting to one another. Those are the circumstances under which, when those small mistakes happen, the whole game plan can kind of go sideways. I really like the point that Blitz made at the very end. That may have been in the lane swap a pretty inexperienced LAN player panicking a little bit, saying, I don't want to be in this lane, I got to get out, rather than recognizing, hey, we can get you back into this if we can hold serve in the mid game.
Yeah, it's funny because some of the other teams, even with inexperienced players, have shown us that, haven't they? Yes. You think of Beast Coast many times.
East Coast, TNC
have done it as well. So it can be done, but maybe it needs a little bit more experience on the big stage.
Huro, not everybody can have a good game.
Yep, that's absolutely true. Let's look at the positive side from Alliance, though. As I said, much more like the kind of form they showed us in the group stage. Where are they in the top 4 right now? Because I know that we had them as favourites coming in, but I feel like they've still slipped a little.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about this game was they put the reins in somebody else's hands than Nico Baby. Obviously, he was on the hard carry void, but this game really got taken over by 33, as well as the early skirmishing, I'd say, done by Leshrak. He wasn't as much known for tower taking that game. He just ran around and forced so much attention to himself, and that's what I think we were talking about them lacking in the group stage, and I think will carry forward very well in the playoffs.
All right, we're going to get more from both of our panel members in just a moment, but first let's catch up with the winning offlaner, 33 from Alliance. How are you doing?
Oh, hi, I'm doing good.
Good, I'm glad you could hear us. Sorry, took you by surprise there. Talk to us about this team. You had a fantastic weekend last week at Dream League. You've come here as the red-hot favourites, but there have been a few mistakes here and there. How has it been for you?
I don't think we are really overthinking our mistakes. We lost to TNC, but I think we just didn't really get to play our games.
Okay.
We were a bit surprised by they had some strategies, but I think we were confident that if we play them again, we're going to win them. And I think kind of showed it in this game. The VP did the same draft as TNC, which I don't feel like we were scared of. So we were happy to see that they're going with the Beastmaster Chen against the Void.
And then in the last game, you guys prepared for the PL, I guess?
Yeah, we knew it would be coming, but I think we didn't want to be too scared of 17 PL because we can always counterpick it with our offline, which we did this game and it worked out.
Yep. You played a super game. We've got Nahaz and BSL along, so I'm sure they've got questions for you as well.
I really want to ask about the Magnus, but I'm going to ask the easy question first. And tell me about playing with Nico Baby, who I think everybody in Dota right now, eyes on him, is this dynamic young carry player. He's growing as a part of your team in the new roster. Have you liked what you've seen from him so far this season?
Yeah, I really enjoy playing with him. He's just super passionate. He's super hungry during the game. He's just fucking yelling, "Davai, davai, go fountain, go fountain." He's going crazy, and it's nice. I like playing with that.
And can I ask you about the Magnus from game 1 to game 2? Game 1, 32 minutes, 0 RPs. Game 2, you actually switch onto the Brewmaster, and it just felt like your game impact went through the roof because of that swap.
I don't want to get too much into that, but yeah, it wasn't a great Magnus performance on the game 1. So I'm glad.
All right, sorry, man. Don't be deflamed.
I'm glad Hanskin took over. So.
All right, Brian.
I'd say you're one of the most well-known players for kind of picking these cheesy heroes. So at what point in your career did you know I'm going to be one of those guys that just has the gotcha picks and just loves that type of play?
I used to play pretty much only Meepo. There was like half a year there that was the only hero I ever played. So I guess maybe then, but I just kind of like the heroes that are, kind of cheesy, kind of more interesting. They have like niche heroes. I just enjoy playing them, so if it works out during the draft, then why not?
All right, good stuff. Thank you very much, 33, joining us here inside the Barclaycard Arena. And very much good luck to you in your next match against Beast Coast. Thanks for joining us. Gents, he's kind of a cool character that's growing as a pro player as well, isn't he?
Yeah, like you said, he just did it because he likes playing those types of heroes. And he said, well, I can do it on one hero. Why can't I just do it on the rest of them? And he's very skilled and a fiend, as we've talked about in previous days. He just plays Dota all day.
Okay, time to check in with our Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel Power Plays. You'll remember we give you 4 clips to look at, and you get to choose which one our favourite weatherman will break down. This is number 1, the Morphling Rampage.
Oh my. Yeah, this was, we talked about this guy's PL all tournament long, but it was the Morphling in game 1 that absolutely took over the game. Of course, behind the Earthshaker, we know about that combination, but he just did anything you wanted to in these fights.
And there's nothing like a flying man coming in and hitting you for 1,200 damage. It's very enjoyable to play against, and honestly, it is really enjoyable to watch, as sarcastic as that playing against Par was.
I mean, yeah, it's great as being a spectator. It's the worst thing in the world being on the end of it. I just don't want to be on the other team. Our second clip is the Rubik block.
Oh, very nice. And I just absolutely, I can't say enough. I love what Save did for VP in this tournament. I know we've spent a lot of time talking about Epikid, but I think he looked like an amazing 4-position player.
Absolutely. Got a 4-man RP earlier on as well. Despite the fact that we were talking about the subpar Magnus so far that we've seen in the series.
And you see like the impact the Brewmaster pick had. He's the hero that's supposed to just walk in and force them to go on him, and that enables the Magnus. In the first game, they didn't really have that, so it made it much harder to get that good RP. But you're seeing there the early Blink Dagger on the 4 position.
And we couldn't leave out a Chrono, obviously. Got to get 1 in.
Usually they're fails,
Yeah, well, I mean, you could do a whole a whole video on those ones, I think.
You say the chrono, but like just look at the AoE spam by Alliance overall. I mean, good luck even getting to a tower against that lineup.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there you are. There are all of your votes. Vote now, and Purge will break down. Which one did you like?
I mean, it's BS, but I got to take the Morph Rampage.
The Rampage. I mean, why not, right?
I mean, why not?
We like the Rampage. In the meantime, let's find out what Purge has got from our third and final game as we head over to the Weatherman.
Hey, guys. The laning stage was pretty much perfect for Alliance in that game because they got to do this aggressive tri-lane here. The Enigma basically jumps back from the lane, does some jungling. Chen and Beastmaster help make sure that Void doesn't get as much farm, and that guarantees the 1v1 matchup here on the bot lane. Now, the first couple deaths that came for PL were pretty catastrophic. This is 3 minutes in the game, 3-3's picked up level 3, and importantly, he's got a huge amount of creeps here. 3 range creeps and a bunch of melees, and that's going to allow him to push under tower, and very importantly here, he ends up using a Whirling Death that not only does a lot of damage to the Phantom Lancer, but also damages the creeps, which means those are going to die more rapidly. He focuses on the range creep, picks up level 4, and now he's ready to dive and chase. He's got the Orb of Venom picked up as well, which is very useful for slowing your opponent, giving you more chances to cast your spells effectively. And at this point, Epileptic Kid is just running for his life, trying to get some experience here, but 3-3 keeps diving and keeps diving. He eventually forces him all the way over to the right side where he ends up getting the first blood kill, at least in the lane. Yeah, it was actually 4 first blood. And the important thing is that all these important range creeps are dying while he's respawning. He ends up TPing back into the lane after the Timbersaw picks up his arcane runes, and it's just the same thing all over again, diving constantly. PL dives twice in a row, teleports to the top lane, and just dies there again against the tri-lane. So really tough lane for the PL in this game, and it really impacted his performance.
Breakdown from the man at the weather station. Of course, his power plays will come up after the break. Final thoughts then, gents, on a very interesting first evening. Maybe not explosive that we saw yesterday, but still a fascinating series to look at.
I think, again, that is why, not just Nico, baby, that series is why we are talking about Alliance as a team that has a chance to make the step up to that tier 1 level as the season goes on. I think that was Limp's best game of Dota of the tournament easily.
Right.
I just like how all the teams left in the tournament seem to have their own little spice, own little take on the meta, and I just want to see how they clash coming up in the series.
Absolutely, got 4 left. Our next series, of course, will be the upper bracket final, which will be TNC versus Gambit. Before we get there, though, have you ever wondered what Sir Action Slacks would look like as the side shop owner? Well, you don't have to worry anymore.
After DHL integration in the Dota 2 universe, side shop visits have been down 90%. And glorified shoe shops now. You want a brown boots or a quilling blade? Go to a side shop. Everything else, coming straight to me, baby.
It is not just a shoe shop. I don't know why he keeps saying this. It's so annoying. There's so much more that you could buy here than the main shop. I sell a lot more than just shoes. There's a lot of customers. Not today, but, you know, normally. I can complete 5 different items, for God's sake. I can make blade mails. I can make, what's the other one? Power treads of strength, power treads of agility, power treads of intelligence. And there's another item. What's the other item? There's a 5th one. I wanted my own hotkey, send courier to side shop. No, they wouldn't do it. I mean, how is business ever going to succeed if he keeps slandering me like this? I need an edge over them. I've got convenience. They don't. That damn courier's the only reason that main shop's still in business. It would be a shame if something happened to it, though. Yes. Yes.
It's a big box of MMR. She's going bye-bye thanks to new ranked rules. Nice one, Valve. Gotta say, though, the interdimensional sorting facility, after 1 year, we've only got more business, baby. 200% more courier purchases. Now that ranked rules is out, a lot more supports. Things are looking great for Dota and DHL after this last year, and I gotta say, things look like they're gonna just keep being smooth.
What do you want? Hello? Shopkeep? You called for me? Hello, shopkeep.
Oh, hello, you're here.
Hello.
Welcome to the side shop.
Yeah.
Look, I need something done. This one's on the house if you complete your task, okay? I want you to deal with the courier. Do whatever you can to stop it. Take the sword, build it into a shadow blade, gank that thing. Can you do that?
Okay.
I think we're doing good stuff this year, FEBot. A lot of people getting their packages, a lot of people in Dota getting their items. Feels like we're going to be rewarded for all this hard work that we're doing. I think good stuff's coming our way. Chronosphere! FAL! Why, God, why do you do this every day? Even if something happens to me, our FEBot courier fleet will still get your items delivered to you in Dota 2. Thank you, sir. Take that Shadow Blade, would you? But of course, in the real world, I'll be helping you out as well. That, we'll be seeing you in Hamburg, getting you those items quicker than Anna drops out of OG after TI. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you soon.
How does he mess up that chronosphere? The gank was so easy. I set him up perfectly. I gave him everything he needed. He had it. I gave him a freaking broadsword. God. My business is never gonna work now. God, he's so useless. What an idiot.
You can't chronosphere couriers, by the way. Also, this is a broadsword, not a claymore.
Wait 1 second.
I want a refund.
Wait. I'm sorry, we don't do refunds for full price.
God, this shop sucks.
All right. As you saw in our video, it is time for the DHL drop. FEBot, you and I have to go pick somebody out from the crowd who's got a sign. We will give you a drop. Let's see those signs, everybody. Hold them up. What do we got here? Okay. Buff Techies, please, is back there. Fantastic. Kyle is always wrong. A very strong sign. Techies are what? I love Wind Ranger. Get out of here, you animal. Oh, can someone upgrade the courier? That game is hard. We are one, but we can be. Oh, I can't read that handwriting. I'm so sorry. Give package for the Germans, please. Oh, here we go. Guys, this is true artwork. I know, where's our camera at? Here we go. Look at this beautiful Ogre Magi art and the Life Stealer. I gotta give that to you. I'm sorry, guys. That's beautiful art. Here you go, your package right here. Give it up for these people. Thank you so much. And if you guys are watching at home, watch out for Twitter. We'll be giving a drop online as well. But for now, we're gonna go to a little break and we'll be right back for some more Dota action. See you in a bit.
The clip you guys chose was the Morphling Rampage. Now, the big MVP of this fight was actually this guy right here, the Abaddon, believe it or not. It places a ward on the high ground, and that gives vision of the entire fight. And importantly, he's drawing 2 big spells from Hanskin here, using both Hex and Earth Spike just to disable him. Maybe you could call that a mistake. And then over on the side of the map, you see the real terror coming. Let's see if we can zoom in on this here. There it is, just instantly one of the heroes dying. That's because of the ward that he's able to spot him. Also, he's able to jump for the next target. That's going to be this guy right here. Definitely the right person to jump on. No disables on him right now. Jumps in, gets the 2-shot, and now right off the start of the fight, there's only 3 heroes left, and it's all of the cores left on Alliance. That should make this game pretty straightforward. Not to mention the fact that they have a 19k gold advantage, which allows all the cores the ability to get BKB. Another really clutch move here, used by no one. Resolution is the hero that's a little bit in trouble here. And what he does when he gets kind of low is he puts his Lincoln Sphere in there that blocks the rupture and basically takes all of the damage potential out of Alliance's lineup when the BKB gets activated. They even skewer forward, trying to get the RP there. In the meantime, Morphling has just been cleaning up consistently. He's going to try to guarantee the OD kill as well, but at this point, it's just cleanup. He just gets to play around. Jumps back, fissures, jumps back in again with the waveform, gets another kill, and the buyback on 3-3 here. He realizes it's over. They give him the Rampage, and that ends the game.
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Welcome back to ESL 1 Hamburg 2019, powered by Intel. It's time for our middle series of the day. It's the upper bracket final between 2 fantastic teams in great form. TNC versus Gambit. We've also had a little bit of a change here on our panel as we welcome back an expert alongside Toby1. We've got Kyle.
Thanks, Fred.
How you doing? It's nice to have you on the desk.
Hey, I'm doing great. I have a very positive outlook for what's going to happen on this panel, where we all will talk very positively about the game of Dota 2.
And Kyle will do what?
Well, I'm here to carry, obviously.
Ah, of course you are. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, actually.
Yeah, I missed you on the panel. We haven't had you on the panel.
You didn't say that last time I was up here.
Yeah, whenever we come on, like Kyle comes on the panel, there's always this hatred that goes towards him. I don't give that to him during the cast.
I'm glad you're here for positivity.
And that's why it's been a very good tournament so far for us.
I'm glad you're here for positivity. Let's talk about the 2 teams. Let's talk about...
Yeah. Which one would you like to start with?
Well, let's start with Gambit.
With Gambit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they the ultimate sandbagging team from the group stage?
What?
Yeah, do you not know the sandbagging thing?
I know what... Okay,
I need to explain it to you?
No, sandbagging is when you start slow and you finish strong. That's the Rich Campbell special,
it's kind of like we disguise how good we are, really, by just messing around a little bit and maybe not playing to our full potential, and then we do it in the group stage when it matters, in the knockout stage when it matters.
I mean, sure, but they went top 2 in a group of 6. I wouldn't say that's exactly slow playing it. I think they were probably on most people's radar coming into it as one of the top 3 squads. They were in the finals of Katowice last year. They lost to Secret, the eventual winners, in Birmingham last year.
Totally different team.
Yeah. And that's a big thing as well. Like Gambit have changed a hell of a lot.
Captain.
But as FNG, the kind of holds thing together, and you knew they needed a change. Like after what happened at Epicenter, like it's almost heartbreaking for what happened during the last DPC. And to pick them up and then come in and then actually have their own identity. I think that's the cool thing about Gambit going through this tournament. They started to evolve with this. They got their quirkinesses, which actually make the ability to discuss techies a relevant thing. But they're, like, just as a team, they're getting better and better and better as this whole tournament goes on.
Similar, TNC on the other hand, Kyle, they've impressed the hell out of everyone. They just seem to have become the most complete team at this stage of the season. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think they're just playing good Dota, and they were always drafting win conditions. They got here in the upper bracket. I think it was 2 games that took less than an hour, and they picked Enigma in both. Just really easy. Tim's was hitting some huge ultimates. I just love the way they're playing. It's similar to Beast Coast in a lot of ways, but it feels like there's a little more discipline attached. I think their drafts also have a lot more, like, just big... They're just easier to execute a lot of times, it feels. And they're going to beat you in the lanes because they're just so damn talented. Then the mid game to late game, it's just kind of child's play. They win a couple fights, and then they snowball from there.
It's funny, Toby, isn't it? Because these 2 teams, if you looked at them last season, you both said, actually, they're really good teams. They're good, solid teams. They're top 8 maybe at TI kind of teams. And then, actually, they've both upgraded, haven't they?
I actually think they're still just as strong as they were before. I don't know, like if you say it's a full upgrade, I think we can test that more once you start really seeing like who is a tier 1 team, once the teams who are potentially having a break or still just recovering after TI come back, then we can start to see a bit more of them. But I always felt like Gambit were like a TI level team. They just didn't make it that time around. And TNC, with this type of draft with a lot of the players they've got, like, I mean, a huge fan of Tim's for forever. Like, that guy always does wonderful things for my fantasy team. And he's just opening up, and I feel like TNC just in this big comfort zone. Like, you'd say, like you just pick Enigma straight up. It's like, yeah, do it. Like, there's enough people that can play it, but you get KP into a comfortable zone, he starts having impact on a game, there's just so much space.
Okay. Let's find out what our Vodafone View men have picked out for us to talk about, and in terms of players for this particular series.
Thank you, Paul. It is time for the Vodafone View, where we will talk to one of the smartest people in Dota about who to watch in this series. Not only one of the smartest, one of the buffest, one of the most handsomest, and one of the blitzest. It's Blitz.
Hello.
Sir, who would you like to highlight in this series?
I want to highlight GPK and Armel.
Oh.
I want to talk about the mid players. I'm a mid player myself. I feel like both have been on absolute tears. They're the large reason why they're in this position, especially GPK. This is one of his first lands. He has impressed me so much. And on the flip side of things, we have Armel, who hasn't really been able to show how good he is at times. I want to see that deeper run in tournaments. I feel like this season, though, especially with the direction of March, he's really kicked things up a notch.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people used to talk about Armel, how he was just this unsung guy who is a really good mid, but never really got his time in the spotlight. We are kind of seeing that now, but this new guy coming out from Gambit, a lot of these stories are these guys have been around for 9 years, 10 years. This guy's new, man, and he's kicking ass. He's staying with everybody else.
Yeah, I remember I saw him lane against Sumail in an unfavorable matchup. He still did more than enough to win that game. I feel like this guy's got such a bright future.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this kind of meta where offlaners really determine the match, these mids seem to stand out. So I got to agree with you. I think mid players are the ones to watch for in this series. Any final words? All right, well, we'll just send it back. A handshake's all it takes. That was a hand clap. I mean, a high five. I don't know what these kids call these things. Take it, Paul.
Thank you very much, both of you. I don't know what that was either, but good stuff from both of you, and great insight on the players. Time to introduce you to both sets of players with Rich on the stage.
That's right, Paul. It is time to set the stage right now for the battle of the best. The two teams that have performed the best in the tournament so far. Hamburg, are you ready to see the upper bracket final? With that, we're gonna bring the first team to the stage right now. I'm gonna need you to get loud. Welcome, Gambit! Now, when we look at this squad, they have already looked fantastic in this tournament, but already looking primed to be dominant throughout the entire year. We have this new roster coming together. And if they're able to get this momentum, if they're able to take down the favorite in the tournament, right here on this stage, in this upper bracket final, they are looking fantastic to move forward and potentially take down the whole tournament. And that's why, one more time, give it up for Gambit. It's not going to be easy for them at all, because the team that we are going to bring out right now has been considered the favorite to take down the entire tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, TNC Predator. If this team is able to go on the run that they need to go on, they could be the only SEA team to ever win an ESL 1, ladies and gentlemen. They have been almost flawless in the tournament so far, and we've already said they are looking like the favorite. Will they be able to prove it here in this matchup? Will they be able to go for that run and make history at ESL 1? What do you think, folks? Make some noise for the squad. And with that, Paul, I'm going to throw it back to you. Let's see what these two teams have in store.
Thank you very much, Rex. Yes, TNC Predator versus Gambit Esports on stage, getting ready for the upper bracket final. Kyle and Toby alongside me to bring you their thoughts as we head towards draft number 1, a best of 3 as well. Kyle, Gambit, if there's one criticism that we had coming out of the group stage was that they can be a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah, but that's pretty much every team in this tournament, right?
Is it a TNC is inconsistent?
No. But I think that there's a lot more to be said about the way teams draft than play a lot of the time. If you look at our previous series even, you had VP 4th pick a PL with 2 remaining heroes left for Alliance. All of a sudden you're playing against Timbersaw Leshrac. It's not that EpiKid had a poor performance this game in comparison to the one he won yesterday. You just can't play the same game. Right. You're the win condition, you're completely countered. These teams do a really good job of covering their own weaknesses so that that last pick doesn't have to be this crazy strong solid hero. It just has to be solid, and they just play standard Dota, and it's more about like they're not in a hole, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's changed a lot, hasn't it, over the last 12 months? I mean, you go back 12 months ago, people were opening with 2 supports because they didn't want to show anything, and then saving mid still last, and it's completely changed.
Hey, that's just the nature of Dota.
It is. So what we're going to get next?
We will change not just month to month. We'll change from game to game.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of the 2 teams, Toby, and the way that they match up stylistically, how do you see it?
See, stylistic, I'm always a little bit uncertain when it comes to Gambit, because I think Gambit, Kyle and I were actually talking about this during the cast yesterday, where Gambit can play this high intensity, the CIS standard, the whole stigma of that region. I think they play that, but they play this very defensive kind of, we understand our timings, we understand our approach to the game as well, and they wait perfectly for that one moment when the items arrive, and then they just keep going. As long as they can avoid the stalemate of like, okay, we need another item, and we need another item, and that's where we get our long drawn-out plus 60-minute games that we've had so far.
I'm also interested from a drafter's point of view, Kyle. You've been a drafter. We've got 2 fantastic drafters in this, although one with slightly more experience, obviously having built teams FNG. March on the other side, how do you assess his drafting so far?
I think he's solid. He's definitely expanded his hero puddle into more of a bigger puddle. He's
not quite a lake yet.
This is Menace. He's like probably one of the best guys there is in Dota. I don't think he's ever had an unkind word.
As a personality, he's fantastic.
When he came back, he served in the military for a couple of years after his good performance back at, I think it was TI6. Yep. Immediately rejoins Dota when he was first starting to play with J-Storm. It was like Spirit Breaker Undying, right? Just his strat was, I'm going to buy the wards, and oh, look at that guy. I'm going to go in charge. And he would die, and I'd be fine, because that's kind of the role you have nowadays. And yeah, I think he just provides a nice, like, calm energy. In a way, Heen did the same when he came as a coach. TNC went from the definition of inconsistent to suddenly they were just talented, and it's not like Beast Coast, actually. These SEA and South America as regions have always had the talent, but Dota is such a difficult, like, complex game, and there's so many more ways to lose nowadays. One bad item, you didn't buy a sentry, you were under a ward you didn't realize, they got a DD outside Roche, like, you want to limit the mistakes that you make. If you're going to lose, have it because the other team outplayed you because they beat you, not because you did something stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it better for them to have a figure like March or like Heen, for instance? Shout out to Heen, by the way, from the other day. Fun tweet. The problem was me. Joking, of course, because he's a fantastic coach. I'm sure he'll find another team. But is it better to have that kind of influence in-game rather than out of game? Because Heen, as fabulous as he is, he can give them help and draft advice and analysis and everything, but he can't motivate inside the game when things are going wrong.
Oh, we've always had that kind of debate, right? Like, what happens when you take someone who's a great coach and then you bring them in? It's like, well, I understand the perspective of how I can actually calm you down, like how mentally we can keep this box exactly the way it needs to go, separate from the drafting issues that happen. But I don't know, with like,
Kyle, I'll give you my perspective from the outside when we saw you captain. You were the kind of guy that took the pressure off your guys. You were the face. You were the guy that did all the interviews. You were the drafter. You were the guy that, I'd made all the mistakes.
Wait, I thought you were the person that put the pressure on. Didn't you put the pressure on your guys to say, like, come on, guys, we've got to win this. You got to push them to the edge.
That's in the booth, isn't it? Well, private.
So, okay, if you really want to know, okay, there's...
Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen.
Stop, Paul. There's something called the Herbst-Yerkes-Dodson curve, okay? And it's about the optimum arousal level for peak performance. What athletes call being in the zone, right? It's like it's a curve like this. Hang on, there we go. So it like goes up. This is when you're doing good. But then if you're you start going down if you're too amped, you're too excited.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether you look at OG, right? Always laughing, having a good time. Yeah, we're just here to play some Dota, right?
Sure.
They're in the zone, giggling, right?
So where are they on the curve?
They're in the middle, right?
Okay.
They're winning TI.
Okay. Yep,
Then you have squads like NIP. And this isn't meant as criticism, it's just different styles. NIP, they're very serious. Peter and Universe, when EG won TI, that was all business. There's no fun.
Okay.
No aggro tipping. There's no memes.
Where were they on the curve?
They're still in the middle too.
Still in the middle.
That's the idea. It doesn't matter what
gotcha.
you do.
Okay.
You just want to be at optimum arousal. I'm sorry, that's the scientific term, okay? It's on Wikipedia. It's not, it's just serious.
Yeah, sorry, I'm paying attention. I'm learning.
Yeah, we could have just used the nicer words like their performance is peaking at the right time as well. Like
it's what you need to have in your mentality to acquire and achieve peak performance.
What happens when you get back down though?
What do you mean?
Because
it's like that's when you get into panic. That's when people start choking.
Oh,
because
so you
all
panic
of a
when you're
sudden,
coming back down
your heartbeat's racing way too fast. You make a mistake because you're not thinking clearly. You're not playing the game of Dota you're in. You're overthinking things. You're thinking about, oh, well, I did this last time and I messed up.
So let's link this back to your captaincy and other people's captaincy. Where do you come in on that captaincy, on that swing of the... Where do you come in to stop that going too far?
I don't know. It's been a while.
He lives the talent life now. Come on, hashtag JustCaster.
Hashtag JustCaster, indeed. Head to boys of the draft. Let's talk about heroes. 3 bans apiece. We saw those fantastic series with TNC, Kyle, where they decided they would show us how to play.
And I wanted to bring this up, sorry to interrupt, but this is kind of what I expected because TNC have proven they can beat Void and they leave it in the pool. Gambit first pick it when available. So right here, we already see a bit of the mind games come out. Gambit's like, yeah, okay. You give us what we want, we'll take it, but TNC is definitely going to be prepped. They did this in their upper bracket final against Alliance. They gave away the Void. They immediately went Beastmaster Chen, and it does look like the Chen was taken out from Gambit, so obviously they've done their research too.
Yep, that was perfect. That was like you'd read my mind.
Well done, Kyle.
I prepared. Toby, Toby's looking at, is that Notepad?
I think that's Word doc.
It's Dota buff, you fools.
All right, break this draft down for me, Toby.
All right, come on.
Keeper of the light.
What, you remember, whenever we sit there and we're waiting for the whole game to begin, it's like, let's just wait until the 3rd pick and then you can start understanding different things. Because we always used to do that, like we spitball things, like, oh, Faceless Void gets picked up. Let's look to see the counter team fight. Let's see the Winter Wyvern being grabbed. The Keeper of the Light will give that as well. And you can start listing things and things and things, but how much of it actually makes sense just yet?
It's 'cause you really can't. You can't win a draft in the opener. You can lose it, and you can all of a sudden like oh damn, we just got hard counter. There's the there you go. They replaced the Chen with the Coddle. Immediately you Beastmaster against the Void. It's because if you realize like Void is a very much you want to take the one fight and relax. It's also trying to scale later into the game. Beastmaster is pretty decent in the laning phase against him, and you also hit a tempo, right? If you suddenly have an opening with no chrono and you're pushing. You're killing the racks.
It's also one of those great KP-style heroes. Like, I always love to see KP on a hero who's able to have influence for both vision, which the Beastmaster is able to do, but more importantly, it's the lockdown, it's the stun. Penetrate any kind of immunity you've got. It's a save that kind of works very well with the Keeper of the Light, and we've seen Keeper of the Light being prioritized more and more throughout this tournament just because he really speeds up everything with that Shaka by dropping down the cooldowns.
And there is a Night Stalker in the pool. Gambit love that hero, but they go for the CM instead. I like that. It's really easy to kill the boar. Extra gold XP.
Troll got benched.
Troll sucks right now, doesn't he?
Wow, that's harsh.
His ulti sucks.
It's just pretty tough meta for him. We all gotta get into it. We're not gonna see a troll.
No.
We saw one. I think we saw one in the groups, right?
How'd he do?
Not good from memory. It wasn't, it doesn't stand out as one of those. Oh, do you remember that troll game in the? No, it's not one of those.
No, sorry.
Shaker?
It was banned.
Can't do that.
First ban against TNC.
And that was obviously, we should go back and explain why, I guess. That was to stop the Shaker Morph.
Yeah.
Which was that?
It's a shot to take Shaker Morph, but also Tim's is one of the heroes that he just absolutely destroys on. He doesn't need help. He doesn't need to buff up his core by giving him his abilities.
Before I came to the venue, because I was off first series, I went up to watch the game in the the player area, and Insania was sitting there, and he's like, hey, Kyle, who do you think's gonna win this game? And I'm like thinking about it. I look at the draft. I'm like balancing out what's gonna happen in a fight. I'm like, blah blah blah. He's like, here, I'll give you a hint. When there's a Morphling and a Shaker, that team will win. I didn't even like see it. I was like blind. It was orange and the Morph was blue. But point is, you shouldn't let it.
Except that it didn't win in the group stages because TNC gave it to their opponents and then beat them with them.
That's what you get for supporting Slacks.
Yeah. It's funny, that's actually a cosplay. That's Ben pretending he's his own fantasy team.
Oh, I thought that was a really good cosplay of Knoxville. It looked really realistic as well.
Yeah, his name's Ben.
He wasn't quite as drunk as Knoxville normally is.
Whoa.
So it wasn't quite as accurate.
Alk banned out by Gambit. I think whenever you pick Void, it's a must, especially when you're playing against TNC. That's another hero. I think that's obviously Morph Shaker's on its own power level, but I'd argue that Alk is up there too. There's counters to it. You can have a good strategy in mind, but as we saw yesterday, Vici played about as well as he could. I even saw some people pretty angry on Reddit about it, because he's like, okay, so you're telling me they took his stacks, killed him, blocked the camps, killed him again, they're up 20-5, and they still lost. It didn't even look close. Like, this is just, it's just not a balanced concept right now, and I'll be very, very thrilled when he is nerfed into the ground in our next patch.
Yeah, whenever that will be, get your crystal balls out.
Coming fall 2019.
Yeah. Things are still falling off the trees.
Lesh Tiny. Yeah. Follow up from TNC's Leshes.
Oh, we definitely start looking towards the Blood. You actually do Bloodseeker with Void as well. That'll be a bit rough. But it was that combination you had of just like the toss for the Rupture.
I like Lesh because TNC are comfortable playing it on effectively every role. It could be the 2, 3, 4 here, even 1.
Same with the Tiny on the other side. A little bit of flex.
It's most likely going to be the 4 position.
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
This is the big pick for TNC. Whenever your second pick, you've got to give away a core here, right? Or you're going to take a support and reveal that Lesh and Beastmaster are cores. And then this is the critical, and this is probably your most important selection. You want it to be something that obviously fits and tailors to your draft, but can't be hard countered. TNC in the past, they've picked Enigma in this scenario, but of course that's been taken out.
Edgy Night Stalker.
With Coddle on the same team, by the way. Obviously you're not going Ags very often nowadays, but still some anti-synergy. Not really, honestly. It doesn't matter. Nobody buys Ags on Coddle.
Hey, I'm just going to give you some props for the Night Stalker.
I said that.
Oh, sorry, let me just high-five that through that Red's trying to do in front of us.
Toby said that early.
It's just like...
No, that was Carl. We may sound alike now.
Toby, you're not helping yourself here.
No, there's no help for me here.
He's giving you a softball.
I'm not taking credit for other people's good things.
Did you ever copy people's homework? You
Never.
did, right? What?
No, I just failed my tests.
I was the guy that had to copy. I had to do other people's for them.
Yeah.
I was too busy playing cricket and soccer
and
tennis.
It was money.
Oh, Underlord's back.
Okay, that's really cool in theory with Void, because one, it's a ton of damage in Chrono with just the Firestorm. But the way it works, so we were discussing how when Void's Chrono is down, the team fight is low, right? You might not want to press your advantage. Yeah. Underlord allows you to go, maybe there's a buyback, and a fight that you would lose because Chrono's not available, but now you can just call that Uber, boom, you're out of dodge, you can reset, regroup, and then fight again when all your spells are back off cooldown. So it really just matches the way you want to play around a Void.
And they're definitely going to need to play around that very well, because TNC's got a very high tempo style lineup. Like, we talked like Carl briefly, like he's able to increase the speed of things, but Latrak, you just take one kill and you can already start pressuring a tower. Night Stalker can just be this frontline aggressor, and it doesn't take long for these heroes to come online. And then we still don't know who TNC's final hero is going to be, if this is a high tempo mid that gets picked up.
Invoker Man.
Could be
like the TAs that we've seen so much as well, but I don't know if it's not as great against the Tiny.
I think I'd rather just see a mid Lesh if your matchup's fine. A Razor could be a possibility.
Okay.
I actually don't mind a hero like Bristleback. I think if you look at Gambit's issues right now, it's mostly sustained damage output and in the mid game, right? If you hit a timing as TNC where you've got Lesh Beastmaster plus something beefy, well, how does Gambit actually kill your draft? You have Coddle as well to drop the Ignis Fatus, boom, counter-initiate, deals with the Chrono very effectively. I'm concerned for Gambit if TNC look to turn up the gas with their 22 pick. Need something here that has more of like a low cost, low cooldown ability that provide high damage. Something like Lina could work, but it's just, I want something a bit more durable.
A lot of discussion over this final ban. A lot of time being used by Gambit actually in the reserve.
You can see SF is a possibility, some more stacking damage resistance. You really want a BKB hero against Coddle and Lesh as well. GPK is more of the flashy superstar style of mid, so OD is also a possibility. But again, just very, I'm concerned about a hero that relies on auto attacks for damage output. I'd much rather a mixed damage core that buys BKB.
You don't want something that just dumps stuff in the chrono?
Well, you can do that too. It's like you need something that does like checks a lot of boxes right now and also is somewhat matchup independent. It's very difficult to ever outlane a Shadow Fiend. Toby, what do you think?
I'm thinking I want to go over there and ask Blitz.
Just 10 seconds of reserve time remaining here for Gambit. They do have the pick straight after, so not a big deal, I guess. They ban the OD and they pick the Quap.
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't have a disable, but it's low cooldown, high mobility. You can play around with your supports easily, and the CM Aura helps you farm a lot. You don't need to buy a mana regen item. You can just play Dota 2, but here's where TNC, I think it's a dream DK pick.
Yeah.
And all of us, you just can walk down lanes, right? Because Gambit's damage output is, again, very limited until they have a lot of items online.
Do you still feel like that's going to be enough, though, with like TNC's timing? As I know, like everyone else is able to walk down lanes and then just make it like that front liner, but then you're running into the Underlord, you're running into the Chronosphere. And you have to start playing around like Dragon Form.
But what if you have a BKB DK, how do you do anything? Plus, Quap kind of needs to snowball to be effective in this kind of game. It's really difficult because you need a BKB. You prefer a 4-staff hero against Night Stalker, but Quap doesn't really like to buy that item. Now, Yules isn't exactly effective. You could just be stunned as you come down. Night Stalker still has a silence floating around on top of you. It's a relatively difficult game, especially if TNC last pick another stun.
The only concern I have out of that is you don't have that way to get like an instant kill. We've seen these TAs with the big hits. Like, I don't know if you get like a Necro who's then able to like drop the Reaper's Sight. Like, it's something along these lines where TNC has kill potential coming from their mid, because that's what Gambit's going to want to run with too. Queen of Pain rotates, it ends up with a kill, and we end up getting Dusa instead. So, very survivable.
It's really good against the Quap. You just spam Snake on her in the laning phase, drains the mana more than harass, and you don't get harassed, then outlast it, and eventually start rotating to start doing stacks. It's a different style from TNC.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a very different style. What's on the other side that can threaten that Medusa pick?
They don't really have, they had damage issues, right? That's what I said. And now you pick an incredibly tanky hero with a coddle behind him.
Yep.
So you're going to give Chakra, that lowers the cooldown on Snake and applies, you know, it's plus 300 mana. That's literally just raw HP for Dusa. You have a Beastmaster as well. Tons of map control. It's a
great last pick, isn't it?
It is. I think Gambit need to play better for longer to win this game. One mistake and TNC can just kind of cruise.
Toby?
Yeah, I'm with Kyle on that one. Like, the Dusa feels very unanswered. At the same time, though, like, it feels like Gambit can play that slower kind of pace. Maybe they can weather the storm and the Underlord. What was the phrase that Cap was using? Infinite scaling. Just let them keep building up, and then there'll be one big fight it'll all come down to. So it's that game you don't want to predict the winner of.
All right, good stuff. Time to get into game number one then, ladies and gentlemen. Holding the seat, this one could be bumpy for everyone.
One small mistake and Gambit will be on the brink. That's what Kyle is saying from this draft. This last pick, Medusa, seems to be exactly what TNC is going to abuse Gambit's lineup with. Kyle said there was a lack of damage. Do you agree, Blitz?
Kind of. Like, I can sort of see what he means in that, no, actually, I feel like they have a lot of damage.
They've got Quap behind a Faceless Void.
Yeah, they have CM, who's like one of the best like DPS 5s. You have Tiny, who has one of the highest burst damage potentials. You've got Firestorm that you can throw into the Chronosphere.
It is still going to be hard to be able to burst down that Medusa, right? I mean,
I think you just have to change your item build.
Yeah.
Like Void would have to go Diffusal this game.
Diffusal Manta build?
Yeah.
That's the play for this game.
Like Maelstrom is so value on the hero, but I think that this game, Diffusal is just so good. It's good against pretty much all the heroes on the side of TNC this game.
We are going to have a couple of somewhat unique heroes. I'm not sure if we've seen Shanchlo play the Underlord just yet. in this tournament, but we are going to definitely the swerve was from TNC. Once again, doing the safe lane Night Stalker that we've seen from them many times, but this last pick, Medusa, comboed up with a Keeper of the Light. I mean, that's a really powerful duo by itself. God forbid that that March gets up to level 20 and he gets the plus 300 Chakra Magic mana, plus the Mystic Snake, being able to cast that twice. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty crazy.
That's so much value, which is why I think the Diffusal is very value for them.
Yeah.
And I think their laning phase has to go pretty well. Like, I could see a world in which Gambit just gets run over, which is what we saw when Alliance and, in fact, Gambit, when they played against TNC in the group stage, and Alliance in the playoffs. I mean, this team will outpace you real quick. And funny enough, KP not going for the boars. Oftentimes we see that. In fact, decided to go for the axes, and I think he's just going to try to trade up with Dream. I think this is a pretty good idea. You're going to force him all the way back and around by chasing him like this. He doesn't have time walk up in time, so he's going to come back all the way around, already a decent start for TNC.
It was definitely a one-for-one trade-off. He leveled axes, then Dream leveled the time walk in response. It definitely seems like Tims and KP want to get full-on aggro against Dream. Our mid matchup, the Medusa of Armel versus GPK's Queen of Pain. How's that supposed to go?
I mean, I think the lane is fine for both sides.
Yeah.
But I think Dusa against all in-cores feels really nice. Get rid of their mana. It's hard for you to ever deny the range creep.
Yeah. So Armel might have the slight advantage here, and that is pretty dangerous because Armel has been a monster in the mid lane.
Yeah. He has won so many lanes that I feel like he shouldn't. And so is GPK. Like, GPK this is probably one of the more anticipated matchups in the playoffs for me, just because I feel like GPK has been an absolute beast. Like, he's gone on a tear.
Yeah, I feel like we had this description for when we watched Alliance matchup against TNC, and Armel did end up beating out Limp in at least one of the matchups. I remember the Gyro versus Ember Spirit. He bodied Limp pretty hard in that one. We'll see whether or not he's going to be able to do the same against GPK. Meanwhile, our bottom lane, an Underlord and a support Tiny. Not your classic duo, but it's not a classic safe lane either. The Keeper of the Light and Night Stalker lane. Another hero that can definitely abuse both the extra mana given by Chakra Magic as well as the cooldown reduction. Because Void, when you max it out, goes to a cooldown of 8, and Chakra Magic reduces it by 7. So he's just going to be able to double Void a lot of these times for a hefty amount of burst damage.
Yeah, used to hate that combo just because you would rush Coddle Ags every time, and then you would sort of screw yourself over. But nowadays, it doesn't really matter because nobody goes the Ags.
That's true. There's so many items that are worth picking up on Keeper of the Light because of his 350 cast range talent. Any sort of Glimmer Capes, Force Staffs, the usual, but even late game Scythe of Ice can be deadly. That kind of range of initiation. KP trying to get his range creep secured, and he does so with the axes. FNG, nice dodge. FNG packing a lot of mangoes in this lane because he knows he's going to be spamming out Crystal Nova quite a bit.
KP being against this lane also didn't end up getting the boar early. Thought that the axes might be a little bit more value against the CM. Once you get the double boar though, makes it really hard for her. Plus, her mana situation isn't great to begin with, so it's not like you get to trade out very easily.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this maybe should be a trend moving forward because level 1 boar is just not very good. Most of the time you just feed it away. It's only when you get level 2 it becomes a lot stronger. An extra 150 health as well as doubling the damage that it provides.
March gonna get run into by Vampire. Doesn't care too much. Is gonna get tossed into the neutrals. Cute little move by him. And if he does a good job body blocking and he allows the creeps to get him a little bit lower, but Blinding Light is gonna reset.
That'll just mean won't be able to use Blinding Light for a little bit longer. No more regen left for him.
Yeah, and this lane is gonna be fine, I feel, for the Underlord. This is twice now where I feel like I've seen a pretty good Underlord game.
They're definitely going to need his extra teamfight presence Gonna want to pipe this game for sure. Nice toss back there into the Firestorm at bottom lane with the Avalanche over the top of the two, and it looks like March may end up dying here with the Blinding Light, as well as the Void, buying a little bit of space and time. Vampire, he does have stick charges if he wanted to try and go for the dive here, or try and get a toss kill, but sadly, March too far away to claim that first blood. FNG also going to TP out at the top lane, dodging Tims. So first blood still on the table for one of these two side lanes.
It's really hard for anybody to die right now.
Yeah.
You have a Faceless Void that can time walk out. Beastmaster naturally tanky. I don't think they have the damage to kill this Underlord. Gabby shouldn't die either. Really, it's just the supports that'll probably feed up first blood this game. Like Dream can get harassed, but I mean, he's got time walk. It's very unlikely that he ever gets in a position where he should die. So maybe the CM or like Tims gets caught out of position going for the bounty rune or something, or somebody mid really messes up.
Yeah.
GPK to die in this matchup would have to get into some like really irresponsible fight.
It would have to be some sort of all-in play where he blinks onto the Medusa, thinking he's gonna out-damage him. Something weird, but in one more minute time, we are gonna have the nighttime, and maybe that's when Gabby make a play happen. There it is. It's actually KP.
Oh, Dream dies.
Dream, all right.
That is very surprising.
Meanwhile, over the mid lane, Vampire is going to be trying to go for the toss back onto Armel. Leads off of the Avalanche, close enough to get the toss back into the tower range. GPK doing a good job pulling him as far back as possible. He's going to run out of the mana shields here. Is Armel tanking up on just that alone? He has a little bit of Fairy Fire he can use as he gets into the trees, a toss of the tree, and that is going to be good
didn't get his
enough.
Fairy Fire off.
He didn't pop the Fairy Fire, which might have allowed him to live there.
I think that would have saved his life. GPK doesn't have any more mana. Blink is on cooldown for quite some time. Maybe he just thought like there's no point in it anyways, just because he's so low. But it
better just kind of reset the lane.
Yeah.
You already got first blood anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Haste rune for GPK though, that's going to allow him to go back up to full health, full mana, and join in on this 5-minute bounty rune contest. As we could see already, Gambit are setting up, bringing Vampire to the top lane, leaving Shachlo alone at bottom.
And bottom, March is going to get one of the bounty runes. In fact, going to try to go for the second one. He knows that Tiny is mid.
So that's going to be 3 for TNC. And it's so hard to contest Keeper of the Light for bounty runes.
Yeah, the Blinding Light just pushes you out of position. Surprised though that Dream died at top.
Yeah, that definitely shouldn't have happened, right? This is more of a harassment lane.
Yeah, this is more just like war hits you. You just show up when you've got your spells back up. It's FNG.
He might be dead here. If he gets hit by the Split Earth, he probably will die unless Dream can help him take up some damage, especially with that bash helping him out. And if anything, Tims could be in a spot of trouble here if another bash comes out. Dream gonna time walk away, but FNG gonna be chased down by KP. He can cut through the trees if he wants to. Eventually, FNG will be found.
Tims is gonna back out entirely as Armel gets stunned up, but Vampire doesn't really have too much more for him. He's just trying to soak up some of that XP, deny some wards if he gets the opportunity.
And finds a rune to be able to reset. So an Invis rune at that for a Tiny. That definitely presents some interesting opportunities. Bottom lane, Shachlo will be forced to TP back to the shrine after getting voided and gone on. There he goes. He's going to go for the toss back on the Medusa once again, but there is going to be March coming in. Can he save him with the extra bit of mana going out? That gives him the tankiness to survive through the Sonic Blast, but it's not quite enough. GPK is able to chase him down with a blink. Another well-executed gank from Vampire.
Yeah, really well done with that Invis rune. So mid lane lead going to the Queen of Pain so far. In CS, he's got he has 11 more. He's got 20 denies. GPK further proving himself. Of course, it's not fair to say that Armel lost his lane in the traditional sense. There were a lot of rotations.
Yeah, the advantage of having an Underlord off lane, right, is that the downside is you can't really kill with an Underlord, but the upside is you can move your support around as much as you want.
Yeah, because he's fine by himself. Gabby, with just the help of the Coddle, can't really do anything about him anyways.
Yeah. Max bottle efficiency here. GPK TPs into the mid lane and refills Vampires as well as giving him a few charges of his own bottle. That way, Vampire can just continue to assault this triangle area and see if he can abuse Armel a bit. Failing getting a kill, maybe he can steal some experience or something. Shows up a little bit after the camps have already been farmed up, but at least he can clear through all the mana. But now he's in trouble as Tims has already made his way back. They had a ward laid out defensively, saw Vampire coming in, and Armel just baited it long enough for Tims to get here to claim the kill.
And gonna get the last hit.
So Tiny, he thought he was gonna be slowing down the Medusa's farm, but if anything, he might have just sped it up.
I really like how Gabby plays his safe lane Night Stalker, by the way. He almost always just chases off the off-laner. We saw that when he played against KP too, right? Or when he played against 33. It was the Night Stalker versus Abaddon. Just never let him get his level 6. Of course, it's not that dangerous on the Underlord, but still, it's how much you know your Beastmaster's getting at the same time.
And no levels of Crippling Fear, just all in on the Hunter and Knight, all in on the concept of just running at these heroes. FNG, Axes come back, does hit him, and KP will manage to get that kill, thanks to the haste rune he picked up earlier.
Yeah. Aurora expended, but we'll have it up again in 40 seconds.
Okay, Vampire does once again invade that triangle area, get some aggressive wards down, but TNC already had a sentry out, and then when sentry got taken out, they made the call that the ward was placed on the high ground, so they should be able to deward that sometime soon. And they just keep on trying to invade because they want to be able to pressure this tower, but first they really need to root this Medusa out of the jungle area, but she's just too tanky. Vampire certainly doesn't have the levels to be able to support this. Maybe GPK can get a kill onto March, not even bothering to blink forward, just a Sonic Wave will get the kill. And Vampire, well, he keeps on finding the Medusa, farming up the stacks, but every single time, Tim's
just protecting him. He knows this is their true win condition.
Yep.
Getting the Medusa farm. Gabby's gonna set the tempo. But the high ground hero that they need to have a lot on him is Armel.
And the idea being is that the Tiny's gonna find the Medusa and the Quap being such a mobile hero will join him after pushing in the mid lane. But that's where March, he was sitting mid for a reason. He was spamming out the mid lane to prevent the Quap from being able to make that kind of maneuver.
And you also don't want him to take the tower.
Yep. Aggressive push here from Gambit as the 10-minute boundary runes are going to lay out that Chronosphere, catching KP and be able to trade out 2 for 2. Now, KP still has the Primal Roar, so he can try and get out of here. They turn back into the river, running into the illusion of Tim's, perfectly baited out, drawing Gambit away from that critical kill on the off-laner KP.
Yeah, and he's perfectly fine. Just going to walk himself away. He's level 7. He is going for the Necro Book, just so that they can all-out push, which against Gambit's lineup is not the easiest. They do have an Underlord, but in terms of killing, it's so good against the Faceless Void.
Yeah.
Even your Necro 1 will get the job done. And it's not like Dream has had the best game either. He's pretty far behind in net worth. This Beastmaster, KP for me has been the standout for TNC. Like, he has overperformed on so many different heroes. This mid kill, they know what the real threat to this game is. It's Armel. You can have a good Beastmaster game, but if you can kill this guy over and over again.
March, he's trying to get there, will be able to get his ultimate off as well as the Chakra Magic. The turnaround now as Gabby comes in. They do manage to finish off that Medusa, but it looks like it could be 2 dead from Gambit as Vampire. It's going to be chased down by Gabby eventually here. May not have the mana for a Void. Chakra Magic will be given to him. So they trade 2 for 1, but they're also assaulting this top lane. It looks like they should be able to get it with Beastmaster Leshrac duo.
I actually don't think that's that bad for TNC.
Yeah.
Like, you're giving the hero that requires the best early game start all the gold, and Armel will catch up. Eventually, this Night Stalker is going to be so beastly that he's just going to run into all the engagements for him and set the pace anyways. So giving Gabby this gold is not a bad idea either. He got the streak onto the Queen of Pain and the kill on the Tiny. Got some good levels out of it too.
Seems like TNC, that like the same thing with what they were doing earlier with the Medusa and how she was farming the jungle and they kept on getting the kill on the Tiny. They understand that they have this better win condition and they know how to be able to protect it because Gambit, they have to make moves. They can't not make those kind of plays.
I'd say it'd be different if their safe laner got a better start.
Yeah.
With Dream dying and KP having more or less free farm, and this Queen of Pain had so much help and she got free farm and she's still just barely ahead of the Beastmaster in net worth.
Same goes for the other side lane, right? Like Gabby totally free farmed against this Underlord. Shotchlo didn't even walk away with that much farm. He's just a bit behind the Faceless Void.
And KP already has more than 1,000 net worth over this Void. who doesn't even feel comfortable laning anymore. KP's just going to own this top triangle area.
Like, that's so scary, especially when you're going the Necrobook build, because normally there's this window where Beastmaster hits a really awkward, like he just doesn't really do a whole lot because he's still trying to build up his Necrobook, but since he's so overinflated in net worth, he's going to come online a lot faster and farm faster too as a result.
Pretty much got it. What I would like for Gambit to do is make their way towards mid.
They're going to be able to go for the Chronosphere onto Tim's, who is trying to sit away in the trees, but Dream just quickly pulls the trigger on that Chronosphere as he dives in with the rest of Gambit. Now they're going to try and take over this mid tower. We'll see whether or not TNC want to respond.
I don't think they can fight this if they just sit here as 4, which they should do. If you rotate this many heroes in, getting the kill on a Leshrac isn't that big of a deal, but grabbing the tower makes the Chronosphere worth it. You brought all 5 heroes to make this play, and the reason for this is so you can open up the jungle, and you don't just allow all the cores of TNC to get huge. You have to take away this tower.
Vampire trying to come in and steal some of that CS, and he does get that big creep, but now he's going to be caught by the hero rotations of TNC. Gabby's going to join him. Gabby, who did not have Dark Ascension earlier. Probably part of the reason why they didn't try and defend mid lane.
He's gonna get his ag so fast though, and they might make their own move towards mid because KP is so strong. I believe he's got his Necrobook 1 coming in. If they can make this tower trade, they still have a lot of kill potential on their team with the Roar.
If you're Gambit, there's no way you trade this out, right? Like,
it looks like they're gonna have to. Your Underlord has to be in a better position for this.
Yeah.
You can't be farming anywhere else other than where people are tower pushing if you're Underlord. That's the point of the hero. Even if you die, you're so tanky that it takes them so long, you usually get some sort of rebuttal. And it's not like he'd die either. He's got a lot of HP with the hood.
Yeah. You need to be there catching the creep wave before it even gets up to the other side of the field.
And the Roar, Necrobook popped.
Well, we're going to see how tanky he is here. He does still have the hood, but he's going to be pulled back in by that Will-O-Wisp, blasted back in as well. FNG's going to be able to get a freezing field out, but they quickly escape that area, except for poor Underlord. It gets tossed into that. Now KP, he does have the Shadow Strike still on him, just a scream, and it looks like he may take out, but he could be denied at the same time. TP away, KP's actually fine, gets the fountain.
Easy, and that was a lot expended too by Gambit.
Yeah.
You bought enough time for Gabby to pick up his Aghanim Scepter in full.
Well, you also bought enough space on Gambit to be able to get 3 bounty runes, so something small going to their favor. But this is going to be a very critical time with the Aghanim Scepter up on Gabby with your level 2 Dark Ascension as well. And the Necrobook 1 on the Beastmaster, they have reached a big peak. They can probably run around as 4. Feeling relatively confident about taking kills. As you can see Gabby go for this one on FNG.
I don't know what their line of blacks on Gambit. Maybe wave clear or something like that? Or maybe it's just a positioning thing, because I feel like they shouldn't have lost their mid tower so easily, especially during the day.
I think it's
that was a
definitely
big
a positioning thing. But, I mean, they've got Quap, they've got Crystal Maiden, and then the big one's Underlord. Like, they should have ways to be able to deal with these creeps.
And they made some errors too when they lost the Void at top.
Yeah.
They just allowed KP to snowball so hard.
Also, Vampire's like really far behind from him trying to like stop the Medusa so obsessively.
Yeah,
he still doesn't have his Blink Dagger.
But the fact that you didn't get to slow down anybody else, your own game was hampered so much, and it's really Gabby that is going to set the pace of this game now. He's going to just run in really aggressively, farm out wherever he feels like, and he's going to create like a shield, so you have to get past him if you want to get to the Medusa. Him and KP can just play really aggressively, force 4-on-5 fights, and they'll be perfectly okay with that. Like, they're getting a lot of map control out of this. Allow your Medusa to pick her spots and just run forward at that area.
They feel strong enough, they're doing the extra greedy play, which is March is defending the bottom tower while they take that tier 2 at top lane now. Vampire is going to try and root this March, Keeper of the Light, out of the trees, but fortunately he hides at the right time. They know he's somewhere over here because of the high ground vision that was laid out. Now they see him. Tim's spots him out. Vampire's going to need to go for some sick avalanche play here, but the Will-O-Wisp will prevent him from making any cool plays. Well, the toss to the side helps, but it only delays the inevitable.
I really like March's use of the ulti, by the way, just pure offense.
Oh, there goes Gabby. Every single time FNG thinks he's going to be pushing out a lane, there's Gabby, gets him, Final Void.
And he gets the creep wave too. Almost has a full BKB already, Cap.
Yeah.
This guy's so big, and the Medusa, as we predicted, has caught up. So all that early game damage that you did, ganking her as often as you did, you focused on the wrong guy. One will create space for the other. Yes, because Gabby will create space for the Medusa, not the other way around.
Yeah.
She'll catch up. She has so many different farm mechanics to catch up.
Yeah.
They're going to give her all the space in the world if their lanes go this way.
Especially with how easily they can defend a Medusa in that mid lane, a TP in from a Keeper of the Light. The Blinding Light plus Chakra Magic is like an insane burst of survivability. It's like you just got hit by a mech or something.
At some point, you're going to run into a position where you make that move and the Medusa just doesn't die anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas the other heroes, I feel like, were exploitable.
Dream gonna be able to get a Chronosphere out with the freezing field. They're laying everything they have to be able to kill KP. He still got out the Primal Roar, but TNC, they don't want to take the fight. Even if it is nighttime, they
That was 5 heroes there.
Just a bit, yeah. That's a little bit too deep on top of a shrine. Chronosphere is down though. So TNC may still be able to force an engagement. They managed to push him back into the silence. A beautiful Blinding Light blast from March, but it's not going to result in the kill. Queen of Pain is too tanky with the strength treads.
They know there's no Chronosphere, so Armel's still very far forward. The Dark Ascension has been popped.
AoE Void, they're going to be able to get the toss of the Medusa into the rest of the enemy team, but do they actually want that? Because now she just pops her Stone Gaze, the rest of Gambit have to get out. A beautiful Dark Rift, though. That actually forces so much out from TNC, and all they're going to get out of it is actually a tier 1 tower.
They're so far ahead now. Inning phase, they won 2 out of 3 lanes quite dominantly. And it's showing right now, they're gonna snowball this game pretty quickly. And Dream has so little farm.
Yeah, he's very far behind. Has a Hanamitis. Maybe when he gets the Maelstrom, things will start speeding up for him.
And if you've got this Underlord, you just have to get aggressive at defending all these tower pushes. Otherwise, the point of the hero just feels so bad. This hero isn't meant to farm anything, I feel, other than the creeps that come into his lane, or when you're pushing a lane out.
Gambit, they just push through here. 20-minute bounty runes are coming up, and they know they're behind. They got to get at least 2 of these. Meanwhile, TNC only going to stick with the Necronomicon level 1, by the way. He does have the Hooded Defiance queued up after this. There's a Maelstrom for Armel. So
every offlaner goes pipe nowadays. First item. It's going to mitigate a lot of the damage that Gambit puts out. And then Kyle will have been correct. And they will lack damage cap.
Yep. It's coming. 6,000 net worth lead. Gambit just going to push back and forth. Finding whatever farm they can. They just got to buy time for Dream to get
their team fight is still very good.
Yeah.
They just need items on the Void. Once they get items on the Void, their lineup is kind of okay.
Well, maybe they can fight with the Orchid. GPK has that coming in. They can't use it against the Medusa because of the Manta, but it will be a useful tool to blow up some of these supports or maybe stop well, I say that, Gabby actually already has BKB, of course. So maybe options are a bit limited.
Roche by Gabby. Rest of the team nearby, and Armel gonna help him out a little bit.
I mean, that is full confidence right there. They don't have a medallion. Beastmaster certainly helps, but they don't have like this insane Roche taking hero.
They just
still
think they're
going
ahead.
for it.
Gambit's not willing to fight them. So TNC is like, screw it, we'll get aggressive.
Yeah, why not go for the one objective that almost always people are willing to defend?
Yeah, I almost feel like TNC is inviting them for fights, but Gambit, they're avoiding. They're going to try to play on the late game potential of their Faceless Void, Queen of Pain, and Underlord. I just feel like their cores are worse, though.
Yeah. This is one of those plan B scenarios, right? This is what you originally wanted, but now you're going to have to play for high ground defense.
I don't know if you really have a choice is the problem.
Yeah.
Fighting into all 3 of these cores feels real rough right now, considering how good of a start all of them had.
Yep.
Beastmaster's starting to lag behind a little bit, but he's still a lot more than the Underlord does. And the impact that he puts out with his item build, I feel like is just better too. probably just waiting for natural night.
That point, do you think they're going to push high ground during this next night time? Because it is a bit of a risk, right?
They really like going high ground.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if they had pipe, they would do it.
Well, they should have it in time.
They've got a DD rune on their Night Stalker. This could also signal something.
Pipe's rolling out, as is the mech. So those are actually really big team fight items. I think you're right. But first, there's going to be pickoff on Gabby potentially here with the Chronosphere. And once again, the freezing.
Let him get his BKB off.
A beautiful one. Now he's going to get off his BKB. Turned around with the silence.
The Will-O-Wisp is so good.
Now with the control up on this Faceless Void, he's so done for. They're going to be able to get the Void to slow down another 2 heroes. Get those out. The Dark Rift too far away to bail anybody of Gambit out of that situation except for the Underlord.
Armel wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Your most farmed hero wasn't even there, but the BKB gets popped. March and Tim's, their positioning in that team fight was excellent. And look at Gabby just pushed forward, does not care at all. DD rune popped. I'm really surprised that Gambit decided to make that their all or nothing play.
Especially since it was so easily diffused with the Keeper of the Light.
Yeah.
Just a single Will-O-Wisp who stops all that damage. And, well, they will manage to get the toss back here onto Tim's, but sadly, they'll follow through.
I actually think they sort of lack control outside of that Chronosphere.
Yeah.
Chrono never feels good when you're the only tool to initiate with. No real stuns on their team. And again, not to bring it up again, but you know, their Underlord, the point of the hero feels neutered real hard. They weren't able to defend their towers out, so now you've just got a hero that doesn't initiate for you. So we're gonna see again the initiation. They saw Gabby a little bit further away from his team.
I mean, he even blinding lighted first.
Yes.
You could have Will-O-Wisp even sooner. I mean, that was such an easily defended team fight right there.
And you're going on the target that has, you can see KP, he's really amped. He feels the win right now.
Yeah.
Normally it's like, the rule is like, you know, chill out, let the game finish first, but you can tell he's getting excited because if they're not winning that fight, and the Dusa wasn't even there, your hardest hitter, your tankiest guy with the Aegis, what hope do they really have?
Yeah, what hope do they have when they get to level 20 with a Scotty on Armel? Now, it's no longer that big boost in mana, the plus 800 it used to be at level 20, but it's still with the Mystic Snake cooldown, that is double snakes if he wants it. Or the Stone Case duration, which is so hard to fight into for heroes like Void.
Dire's top shrine has fallen.
Natural nighttime is up. We'll see if TNC do indeed try and go for the push in this next 5 minutes.
Pick off by Gabby so far. Looks like
smart TP away.
TP out, and GPK is immediately going to retreat off of this. But Armel, the walking tower, is just going to start hitting top now. I think that's the full Scotty flying towards him.
And Gambit desperate to get some pushes in the side lane. GPK is hoping by hitting this tier 2 someone will come back, but no, TNC go for the high ground. They're immediately going to jump in with a nice Will-O-Wisp and the follow-up of a Blink Dagger from Gabby. Managed to get the Underlord. No spells are going to return, and Shashlo is going to be going down here from the boar. And Vampire may just be chased all the way to the ends of the fountain, especially with the Chakra Magic, giving her a fresh round of Void. Gabby and the rest of TNC march into the Gambit base.
They're pinging tier 4s.
Yeah.
That's how confident they feel.
GPK, they're saying, like, you cannot keep on going for this bottom lane. You're going to have to come back and defend. They do have the Chronosphere up, but one tier 4 is already down. Gambit, they got to start setting up in a hurry, and if they're not careful, they're going to start dying back on some of these heroes as Gabby tries to threaten FNG a little bit. Both tier 4s down. TNC.
Got to be careful about chasing this because TNC will fight. They won't abandon their Medusa here. The backline still strong, letting Armel sit in front, daring them to go on him. They might not have the roar, but the follow-up damage is still there. They've got the Blink Dagger on the Night Stalker. They're going to safely escort Armel to the shrine.
All right, well, you did get the BKB for Dream, and the Aegis has expired. Gambit, you know, I hate to say it, but you might just have to try and fight into a TNC with a 15,000 net worth lead. I don't think you can afford another salt on the base like that.
Yeah, I don't think it gets better either as the game goes on.
Yeah.
I don't think their cores match up well enough.
For Staff, for Vampire, who else? just fishing for items at this point, hoping that Gambit have something that's going to change their fate. Otherwise, they're going to have to just roll over as Armel immediately starts targeting GPK, who blinked into that, is going to be forced into a BKB, but just the physical damage. No, he's going to turn out a Dream instead. Dream is going to be able to get his BKB and will be able to time walk it off. The Dark Rifts should be able to get everyone to safety.
He's got his Blink Dagger up again. He might just go for the chase. He still has his DD room.
They need the rest of the team. Vampire's going to try and come in with a Force Staff. He does manage to save him. Can they catch Gabby? No.
Not even close, but both BKBs defensively used. GPK thought he had an opening there. Was just trying to get away from the Beastmaster. Now Armel, he does not care. He is hitting this without the creeps, not even really dealing damage to it, but he's just doing it because why not?
Once again, the highlights.
They could just wait. Keep in mind, they could wait for the Aegis, and they're not going to.
No.
Gabby's going to break the smoke on this left side. I really like that play. He's going to give them no opportunities to defend this.
Gambit, what's your way to start this fight? What is the strategy? It's got to be some sort of toss back. I'm not sure if you want to go for the Medusa. He does manage to get the real one. He tried to go for the Manta dodge, but no such luck. They're going to be able to get the Chronosphere onto Armel.
Blind again!
Will-O-Wisp, as well as the Blinding Light, just making things terrible for Gambit. They're going to have to retreat back to their fountain, but they've already lost their two supports, and Underlord stuck here with no damage. He try and fight up against Gabby. No such luck there. They're just going to call it. They know it just doesn't matter if their cores live through this fight. They don't have the damage to deal with TNC.
And TNC is up here just embarrassing good teams.
They're on a roll.
It feels so scary to play into them.
Yeah.
They beat you in the early game when they've got the best late game hero. They're great in the laning phase.
And this is like, this started in the group stage. And the best part is they just keep on giving us little different looks as the tournament continues.
Like, oh, you haven't seen our Juicy yet?
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll show you that too. You think we're going all in on the early game or the mid game with our Night Stalker? We can still play 4-on-5 and we'll still beat you in team fights every single time.
TNC, are they just unstoppable, or is Gambit going to find a way to come back in game 2? We'll have to see with the panel.
Just one of the many questions we'll pose to Kyle and Toby on the panel in just a moment. So a great game one from TNC. I'm just going to press my tape recorder. What another good positional play by TNC. It's getting daft now, boys. They're just playing game after game brilliantly. Making teams that are very good, like Gambit, look very ordinary.
Well, when the team playing a bit better also has a significantly better draft, that's kind of the result you expect, right? I just love the way everything just works. Finally, a Night Stalker just rushing Ags. Coddle, Coddle and S doesn't really make sense, but then you realize that Void has an 8-second cooldown, 6 when you have an Ags, and Chakra reduces your cooldown by 7. So it's a double AoE Void.
You've been pushing that so much throughout every single cast, and it works great for him. It's like, so what do you do? Like, let's move the Lesh, we just put him into a 4 roll, and then you get to run that 3-position Gabby, and you can really feel the difference between Gabby as well as Vampire with the impact on the game. Where Vampire was trying to come in, even with the 2 successful ganks on the Deucer in the mid, try to contest up the stacks, didn't really work. Gabby creates that space by just running at you, having this lockdown, having this control, that heroes like a Deucer who's like, oh yeah, you got killed a couple of times early on, easy recovery because there's just so much space to be created.
Yeah, good use of BKBs, good use of the Unlord Uber, but in the end, it's just running away from a fight that can't win it, isn't it, Kyle?
There's really no answer, as like even Cap was saying, the game feels over. The mid-ranks goes down, and you're like, oh, well, I guess Gambit will have to fight into the Deuce. Like, that's the answer. And you're never going to be able to kill this hero with the lineup you had unless you have a huge advantage. What?
Well, I was going to say, that said, would you like to have seen at least them try to do that?
Yeah,
or is it just impossible?
You got to have a better read on the game. You cannot buy a Midas on Void as Dream. Like, you're not going to win the late game anyway. Manta, Diffusal, maybe you pick up a huge timing, like 16, 17 minutes, you're against a Deucer with a Coddle behind him. Like, maybe that gives you enough, right?
Yeah.
And at least with the Diffusal rush, we've seen Nico Baby do this. You can pick it up really early, 11, 12 minutes in. All of a sudden, you're able to get aggressive without Chrono. You can play fast around the map. But when Gabby's going off like that, he has an Ags by, like, what was it, 11 minutes, like 13 minutes, something like that. You lost, man.
Yep, it's a good play all around from TNC. And Gambit will need to step things up in game 2. We've seen plenty of styles from Gambit throughout this tournament. We need to see something completely different to that, though, don't we?
Yeah, like, I'm actually hoping we don't see the style again. Like, I like to see an off-laner which isn't just like we are slowly going to run at you. Like, I feel like they tried to solve the issue with their 5th pick with the Queen of Pain, understanding, like, where's our damage going to come from. We've got our front lines, we've got our tank, and some teams have kind of been thin on that, and they've got more damage so they can actually outplay. And that's kind of where you want to see Gambit go back to. Is like, let's remove a couple of these tanks and go to the outplaying kind of style that sinks well.
All right, hopefully we'll get some of that run at you CRS style in game 2. For now, though, let's head over to Kevin at the weather station and see what he's got for us from game number 1.
Hey guys, the lanes went really good for TNC Predator here. This is the first blood, 3.5 minutes in. Void against the Leshrac and the Beastmaster. They get an easy kill with the stun and the double click. Barely kill him before Time Walk comes off cooldown. That's a huge advantage in their lane. Now, the Medusa, she shifted away from the mid lane because she did need to jungle, and it helps get her away from the Queen of Pain. Tiny did a good job harassing her a little bit and making sure that she didn't get full experience for all of these neutrals. He eventually does secure a kill on her as well, which is pretty nice. But the cool thing about how this game worked out for Gambit is that they get to consistently put this Night Stalker in the safe lane, and there's almost nothing the enemy team can do about it. This creep wave is going all the way down here, and Underlord does the right thing. He just goes all the way back to jungle because he knows he can't contest the lane. And that's because on the map, what's basically happening is that the Caudal is able to rotate towards the mid lane. The Dusa goes over here. Tiny's going to try to contest this, but Underlord needs to leave, and that means they have this lane one. The Caudal can get the experience in the mid lane, and then Leshrac can rotate over to help kill the Tiny in those moments. And then when there is actually a fight that happens, Night Stalker with all these levels, level 9 here at 11 minutes in, he gets to pop his ultimate, gank the mid lane. He's the best team fighter in the early game because of his vision and chase advantage, and that just solidifies their lanes and gets the Medusa super far ahead after he gets the 15-minute X.
Beautiful as ever from Purge. Let's just wrap things up by awarding an MVP for game number 1 with Kyle and Toby, gents.
I'm on Gabby.
You on Gabby?
I'm on Gabby.
I think so.
All on Gabby.
Yeah, he made the plays.
MVP.
Makes sense. He was top net worth as a Night Stalker, above a Medusa, you know, in the mid game. That's impressive as it is. I want to touch on something Kevin said. I thought it was a really good point, and this concept, like the first mover advantage, right? You're winning your safe lane, as you said. Now you have a support effectively getting full XP and farm middle, and Deuce is farming jungle. It's a big advantage because there's no one on the Dire side that could do that. Underlord is jungling, but it's retreating. No one's actually taking his lane. So you're winning top, you're free farming bottom, you're still farming mid, and you have that 4th lane of the jungle where Deuce is one of the fastest jungle farmers in Dota. It's like you're just getting way more out of the map, and then you have better team fight. It's just, what do you do?
Who knew there were 4 lanes to farming? Turns out there are sometimes. We're going to take a break here at ESL 1 Hamburg. When we come back, though, Game 2's draft will be upon us. Plenty of work to do for both of our teams, but TNC so far looking very good indeed. We'll see you soon.
We rise up from
In part by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, DHL, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, Aces Republic of Gamers, Hey Safeguard, Euronics, and Barclaycard.
Champion of ESL 1 Hamburg 2019, and we know is one thing: it will be a brand new name on the trophy. Right now, we are in our upper bracket final. TNC 1 to the good so far over Gambit. Also, alongside me are Kyle and Toby. Gents, we also have a regional diversity here as well. 4 teams, 4 different regions.
Love it. It's almost like every single region is balanced, apart from, wait, what was that one? There's one, right?
Yeah,
There's
it's like
one?
Like where Kyle knows where it is, right?
No idea what you're talking about. I think we should probably break down this series, Paul. We don't want to start any
we've got time.
Geographical
we've got time. We can talk about it in
Americans aren't that strong in geography anyway, so even if we flamed them, they wouldn't understand.
Because most of them don't have passports, right?
It's some crazy, you know, like 80, it's some 3 and 4. 3 out of 4 don't have a passport.
Yeah.
In America?
In America.
Really? Didn't know.
Hey, because I heard the answer to this though, and I got this is when I had a debate with both Conrad and Charlie Yang, and they're like, because why else would you need to go anywhere in the world? America has everything. Apart from a team who can stay in Dota.
We'll say there are some double standards, because obviously our European geography could be a little questionable, right? But you all know the names of the states? You know where they are? Hell no.
Of course.
Exactly.
I do. I'm good.
Hey.
No, you couldn't.
I know more about Romania than I do America.
We can do that later. I'll think of a challenge.
Let's do that later. In the meantime, we're going to get into our second draft. What are you expecting, Carl?
do you want to say Night Soccer ban before you see the ban?
Well, let me see. Is Void still in the pool? Indeed, it is. So TNC typically were banning it out first phase when they were first picked because they don't like to take it. And this is a tough spot for Gambit because now you got this super powerful hero that you had a lot of confidence with, and you just got rolled. In a way, I like that TNC kind of gave that away. I think it's also like a common criticism a lot of teams had for like the old VP lineup, the EG lineups, where if you're incredibly predictable, it's not difficult to game plan, and you're just out. You can get outdrafted easily because people know where you're going to go, and that's exactly what we saw in the previous game.
Nice bit of flex from TNC out of the box.
Yeah. This is exactly what they want to be. Like Bloodseeker and Lich, it's now just shoring up their lanes. It's ensuring too that they can change the tempo of the game up nicely. While TNC open it with the Ogre support, we see KP, who's played a lot of Ogre in the past as well. So they're not pigeonholed either. It's just a good start from both sides.
Do Gambit need to come up with something a little bit crazier, Toby? Something a bit miney.
Oh, stop! Can we, Paul, please?
Yes.
It's too early.
Am I enabling him?
Yes, you are.
Right,
don't need to discuss.
I don't need to.
I will say just until if it does get picked up, then we can talk about it. That I actually think Vampire is the best techies player in professional Dota. I have not seen someone play that hero any better than him, and their loss they had early in this tournament was not on him.
What's funny is it's actually, well, it's really, really good against Bloodseeker Lich, but. It's not
what TNC will ever pick. It takes time to understand how to play that hero, but it also takes time to understand how to play with that hero. So like the team has to like it, or else it just doesn't work. Sorry, we'll move on, Kyle.
I just over here lighting matches, lighting them under Toby.
They've picked Lich 3 times so far this tournament, but it was all second phase. This is the first time they're going to first phase it, and it's already in a way been handled. The shield prevents physical damage, sure, reduces it rather, but now you have Lina Ogre, incredibly high magic burst, which is very effective against heroes like Bloodseeker, who are gonna self-buff themselves, sure, but then they also take that amp damage. Oh!
Hey, we get to talk about it! We have a techies!
Okay, well, you're on your own, buddy. Good luck with the draft. Kyle and I, we're both done, right, Kyle? Are you done? Okay, I'm done.
All right, hey, Cap, if you want to switch over, I'll cast this game for you, man. You can come and panel for it. Techies is up. I actually have both Fred and Kyle who've walked away from the panel right now. Chen answer from TNC. A bit of a pain in the butt to techies, but it's not that bad. And an Alchemist as well.
You think TNC were ready for this? Because it feels that way.
Come on, we were ready for this.
It's totally ready for this.
Yep.
This is not the techies game you want. Like, the worst thing a techies can go against is a creep that's able to tank not one mine, but two. Like, it doesn't matter if a creep walks in and just kills off one mine. That's fine, that's farm. But if they can start taking out multiples, then you're in trouble. An Alchemist, he's the core who can walk through the minefield and not care.
Exactly, and so I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say, before we even see the last picks,
the TNC of one?
I guarantee TNC win this game.
It's because you, oh wait, you also have the other argument that a team that has an Alchemist is going to win.
Correct.
The game.
And that's why I love this. And also, credit to TNC for being prepared for something that I would never have thought we'd see in an upper bracket final, but they're clearly ready for a techies pick.
So there is one really big advantage that Gambit can really utilize here, and that's the fact that the movement of Chen will always be scouted out, and you're able to get a lot of early burst damage in. So Chen's influence in the early part of the game may be really limited once techies, like if he goes right, which I assume he will, with the blast off early on, you're actually able to harass the support heroes out of the lane. And with the survivability of Bloodseeker and what Lich is able to provide as well, you can move the techies so it doesn't just have to be this 2-1-2 style lineup. The SK is very adept at being by himself, and that allows the techies to actually prep multiple areas on the map.
Yeah, so everything Toby said is cool and all. Alchemist, however, will have Radiance, BKB, a Heart, a Manta, really whatever he wants by about 18 minutes. I don't even think techies will be level 12 by then.
Okay, so there's a secondary phase then. So techies is only meant to secure lane and then control region. So if Gambit actually put some effort into this and push up and start controlling the area the Alchemist is able to farm and watch it, you're able to put these, I like calling them like the Trinity mines. It's basically a triangle position of a mine with a stasis trap in the middle. And because
he's got names for them.
Of course I do. Come on, this is the one hero I can actually be analytical about. And with the stasis trap in the middle, you'll trigger 2 no matter what when you walk into it. And it gets a high amount of damage, and it's able to be put on the choke points around the farming areas. The changes to the map that happened a while ago actually allow you to just put 3 of these traps down, and you can control an entire section of the jungle.
I see. Thank you very much.
So if Gambit do this and start contesting TNC's jungle, then I like it. But yeah, TNC's draft is really good. As
the great strategist Sun Tzu did say, he who controls the high ground choke points does have a significant advantage in warfare. And when you're playing against the techies, you know, we're going back in time. You got to watch out, booby traps and all that.
Yes.
You see a tree
Don't look at me, I'm broken over here.
You need a crazy hero now for Gambit. Your win condition is...
You've already got a crazy hero, what are you on about?
No, you need something, you need to get wilder here.
Yeah.
Right? TNC, they have this perfect dog lineup. They've got an Ogre to buff his ability to farm, like Chen to secure lanes. You've got tower pressure, a ton of burst. Gambit need team fight, and they need something that can also just eat towers. They need to just crush this map somehow. Meepo, really, even into Alesh, I think, is still possibly your best pick.
Yeah, I would still go for it too. Like, it's that type of, that fast momentum that you're able to play with some level of space that gets created. Techies doesn't work, like, even though you think he's the late game hero, is only because he's dragging the game out. He doesn't actually help you win the game late. You need a hero who's just able to explode.
Remember StarCraft? It's like you want to play...
The resources are drained on the map.
It's trying to push with the siege tanks, okay?
It's a gyro.
Yeah.
Is that crazy enough for you, Kyle, or...?
It
seems a bit timid to me.
Sure, Gambit could win all of their lanes, crush the game, get early BKB, take 3 towers. It's possible.
Stuff up.
Yeah, and just create a bunch of Trinity positions throughout the enemy jungle to prevent Alchemists from accelerating.
Terminology. I have not mentioned complexity once on this panel. You keep your mouth shut.
Well, they don't have a Dota team anymore, Toby, so that'd be a little...
I wonder why.
A little irrelevant.
All right, which way are you going? Has the techies convinced you, or are you on the Alchemist train?
I'm trying to think of like some challenge. Like, I feel like I'd lose enough face if Toby's somehow right and this techies comes through and looks like it's an actual hero. He will. if they can get there, 251 damage on that level 25 talent, the most in Dota 2.
Okay,
all right. Pay dividends.
This is enough nonsense now. I'm going to let them carry on arguing, and we'll see who's right at the end of game number 2. It's a techies game.
It's not a 251.
It's not too often that Toby is the smartest man on a panel, but fortunately for us, Kyle makes sure that all of his co-panelists look good. Blitz, what do you think about this lineup?
I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Like techies versus an Alk. I feel like the pace of the game might be a little bit too fast with the techies.
Well, we certainly see what the audience thinks about that. Is that the most one-sided betting we've seen so far?
9-1 is pretty crazy.
Those are some pretty one-sided odds for sure. Well, we're going to see whether or not Gambit can make some magic happen. Maybe it's science with some techies picks. Vampire, I do agree with Toby, though, that I think Vampires is like probably the best techies in Dota right now. Also one of the few people running it, but still, he had sick techies.
On his team is already tipping him. But do they have the lineup to deal with it? They've got a lot of range damage onto towers, and they have a really, really tanky core in the Alchemist. That really leads me to believe that their lineup might be good enough to do this, but of course there are other heroes on the side of Gambit. You've got plenty of different ways to stop a tower push.
Chen creeps to run into mines, tanky heroes like Ogre and Alchemist.
I'm listening to like 2 different groups of people shout Gambit, but they're not doing it coordinated.
Got to sync up the sides of the room together.
You're like, Gambit, Gambit.
Bit of an echo chamber.
Yeah. Just follow that guy. He knows what he's doing.
Fight over the bounty runes. GPK is going to join Chachalo up at top lane, and they're going to leave the techies at bottom for a defensive tri lane at the start. But because Gambit was able to secure that top one, they're actually going to get 3 of the first bounty runes.
Already a win over an Alk lineup.
So much blood.
I thought maybe Vampire would like try and stick it out in bottom lane just because this is going to be kind of a tough lane for a Bloodseeker, right? This much magic damage. Alina, Ogre, Magi lane. Ogre's a hero that can man fight you when you try and challenge him. You've got chain stun opportunities.
I need GPK to dominate this matchup. Even though I don't think it's an easy matchup for him to dominate.
Yeah.
You're going to have to just ask a lot out of him because I feel like if this Alk gets online too late or too soon, a lot of the heroes on Gambit are going to feel useless.
What do you have to do to win this matchup as Gyrocopter?
You have to find positions where you have to, like, you're going to get 1 or 2 moments where your rocket will catch somebody out. You just all in flak.
Trade off back and forth of spells at bottom lane. FNG and Tims going at it as they both try and do what they can against this Bloodseeker. There's the chain stun combo against FNG, taking a lot of damage as a result. Our top lane, a nice little combo though. Sand King and techies. A lot of magic damage, a stun to be able to set up the suicide of Blast Off.
Yeah, and FNG already getting pretty low, but this Lina Ogre combo, like you said, it's pretty deadly.
Yeah,
KP feels real good about taking these fights, and this should be a kill on FNG. First blood goes the way of KP.
Do manage to get the blood right damage on the other 2, so that'll take away some regen. And yeah, sure, Dream will get some CS, but at the end of the day, it is a lane that is going to be very difficult for this Bloodseeker, especially with a nice pull coming out from Tims.
This mid matchup, I'm asking the impossible of GPK.
Yeah.
Bottom lane, a lot of damage going on to Dream. He's going to throw out another blood right. Connects on a Tims, who's got to be careful. He's going to back himself away.
They didn't bring a healing salve. I thought FNG was going to bring a healing salve with him to this lane. That way Dream could actually heal up, because he doesn't have Blood Rage, and he only has a single Tango, so this is not great.
Maybe he thought he wasn't going to be in this position. GPK getting low from all the trading with this Alchemist.
That is one of the dangers, right? When you feel so pressured to like, I gotta kill this guy, I gotta kill this guy. Sometimes you just overplay your hand.
Yes, and that's what, it's difficult because you need to shut him out.
Yep.
But I think it is kind of a free lane for Al, because he never feels the threat of the kill.
Yep.
Maybe a gank, but who's going to gank him? The techies?
Yeah, we saw that last time where the missile was put on him and GBK tried to position himself for a good rocket barrage. Armel just hid inside of his own creep wave.
Yeah, he's got to push out the lane first, but the hard part is Alk does the same to you by just laying down the acid.
GBK really playing with fire right now. Can't really go into the acid spray to complete this kill. He's gonna walk through it now. He does have fairy fire as well as a healing salve.
That scared me.
That was a little close, but a low health Alchemist does help out the Bloodseeker lane at least. Gabby trying to chase the Sand King out of his Sandstorm.
Now it's an opportunity for GPK to get some damage off.
Yeah, that was great. He's gotta keep this up though. Dream.
This bottom lane though is such a worry for me.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bloodseeker trades very evenly here.
It's okay. He's still doing all right in CS. Like, even though this is going to be a tough
He might
lane.
have his opportunity pretty soon, but the lane is going to push the other way. And he needs some regen brought to him if he wants to get aggressive.
Flat cannon shots, extra regen coming in for Armel as well. This is just the trade-off. That top lane, they're going to get the burrow strike. Blast off, being threatened by a vampire. Doesn't complete it, though. Yeah, he's not nearly low enough. Bottom lane with all that damage onto Tim's KP. I mean, this is all up to GBK right here. He keeps on threatening Armel and bringing him low. Even if he hasn't gotten the kill, it's what allows the Bloodseeker to go for the Lina like that. Gabby forced to teleport back. March will bring him back in with the Chen. Thanks to Divine.
I think Armel's dead.
Yeah, it looks like a double damage. That's going to be good enough. GBK, you said you're going to ask the impossible of him to hard win a lane against the Alchemist, and he finally does.
Yeah, Armel just decided, I think he just decided to die there.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from GPK, but he saw the DD rune, he's like, I'm low.
Yeah, just time to reset.
Yeah.
And GBK is now going to be in a position where he can't really threaten the Alch anymore until he has his regen come in. Vampire going to have to go for the blast off and does manage to get the deny in time.
The nice part of the blast off is it brings Gabby a little bit lower, which speeds up Dream. Makes his life a little bit better. But the lane phase is so even right now from both sides.
3 bounty runes for an Alchemist lineup, but GPK is going to try and dive Armel a little bit. Has his level 6, he's got call down as well. And so now he is going to have the task of trying to invade the jungle. Meanwhile, bottom lane, the chain stun goes out. Dream is going to play underneath the Blood Right. And Tim's actually tanks it just to keep right-clicking Dream some more.
Empire down here wants to set up for a kill, hoping that they'll stick around for a little bit too long. Going to lay down a mine. The stun's going to come
This is an opportunity right here because Dream does need some help. Vampire's going to keep on running behind and lay a mine out first. He wants FNG to get here. He really wants the slow. He wants the extra stuns, and now he's going to show up. 2-man hit with the blast off, and KP, he's going to try and kill the support, but it looks like Tim's going to be run down by Dream, very easily getting that kill, and Vampire will be able to get out. If anything, KP may still die. If the Blood Right lands, KP jukes it to the left, but that means he's pretty far away from any safety. Slowed down, Dream sped up from the Thirst. Might be able to still run him down, except for Lena's going to TP in, so maybe not a good LSA, but a nuke comes out from FNG. That actually completes the kill.
Nice rotation down by both supports, helping out Dream's game quite a bit.
Oh, look at that. He got a regen rune too, so they don't even have to pop the shrine together.
Dire's middle tower.
All things considered, this is a great start for Gambit. I think both you and the panel really emphasized they needed a good start.
Yes, they need to roll this laning phase if they're going to stand a chance at winning. Empire going to lay out a ward pretty aggressively.
Yeah, is that a courier sniping ward? Like, what else is that ward for? Like, is he going to go for a remote mine, a deep remote mine play?
I guess. Try to get the jungle going?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, yeah, I guess that kind of ward will maybe see the Alchemist as he rotates into the triangle sometimes. Meanwhile, though, GPK, he hasn't really tried to address the jungle instead, just to try to address that mid tower as soon as possible, and he did a good job of it. The tower already down to 118 health. If he can kill that tower, loosen a bit of the dire hold on the jungle. Top lane, Shotchlo and Gabby playing underneath the Sandstorm, but Gabby, he has the superior firepower. That's the advantage of this Leshrac pick against the Sand King.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Very nicely played.
He keeps trying to get aggressive on bottom lane, but he just blood right, heals himself up through the blood rage. GPK takes mid tower at a very good time.
Yeah, he just went in. He knew it was low enough that he could just backdoor it.
Yeah, he's doing very well for himself in this lane.
Yeah. So now he can push in the mid lane, which will allow him to either rotate into the jungle and try and address Armel, or he can go to the side lanes. A haste rune, that's an opportunity for sure, especially with the phase boots he already has.
If they could somehow invade the stack, that would be a pretty game-winning play from Gambit. If they could find out where the stack is, GPK hasted is currently trying to.
Wraps around behind mid, showing his haste rune off in the last few seconds. The rupture in bottom lane on KP, but the tanky Ogre Magi, that was kind of the concern. The Ogre as a core, good stand up to the Bloodseeker. And the more times they go on this bottom lane and fail to get the kill, the less pressure they're able to put out on the other TNC heroes, specifically this Alchemist.
Yeah, they just want this passive phase right now of the game while their Alch gets closer and closer, like you said. Just chill out, let the Tim's Lina push out mid lane. Let everybody else deal with that. You're gonna hit this really sick timing anyways with the Lesh core and the Alchemist. You have 2 ways to frontline against towers. Just don't let Vampire get too involved into the game. Get levels, get those remote mines up.
Yeah.
Be that nuisance we saw in that game against Quincy Crew.
I do like the fact that Gambit are aren't trying to like disguise their pushes too much. They're just going for like, okay, TNC isn't gonna fight our Gyrocopter, let's just go for it. Bottom lane though, they aren't gonna be able to get the rupture on Gabby. Chen brought him into this push, but now Shachlo is gonna try and make a kill happen here. It's gonna lead off onto KP. KP getting into the trees until he's pulled back by FNG. And Gabby, who still has the rupture on him, is kind of stuck. Vampire's gonna go for the deny of the blast off, does manage to get it. Doesn't hit the damage onto Gabby, but it looks like Dream may be able to get him. The body blocks were almost there from that Frost Ogre, but it looks like it was actually good enough. He doesn't want to chase Gabby underneath the tier 1 tower. Instead, they're gonna have to contend themselves with a kill on March, which I'm sure they are pretty content. They got a 5 position and a 3 and the bounty runes here in bottom lane and 1 at top.
They got 3 bounty runes. They're going to feel real good about that. And they're winning these mini skirmishes.
And they're getting the tower. GPK, he's going to be able to backdoor this one.
Yeah, I really like how GPK is playing. Being very aggressive. He doesn't want to get into a...
Uh-oh. They baited him in to try and go for the tower, and he got the multicast. That'll allow Gabby. Oh, he doesn't actually hit the splitter. That's going to be a bit of trouble. Now he should be able to run him down still with all that magic damage, unless the missile creates enough space. KP tries to rear up the fireflies, and he gets another multicast. Of course you do, KP. FNG runs out of damage. 25 HP left on that Ogre. He has vision of him too, thanks to the thirst of the Bloodseeker. And that is Dream, who's going to come up to this top lane.
He's coming up here fast.
Oh, he knows he's denying the tower right now. He can't actually get to it in time.
He's trying to do what he can.
The Blood Right comes in. He's going to be able to dodge that. A rupture out, and eventually...
just runs in circles.
Dream will get that kill. Still, though, KP, he killed the Gyrocopter, and he got the deny on the tower. Well worth it.
At bottom, Tim's does his level 6, but won't have nearly enough damage to get rid of Shachlo. But all this time is created for one hero and one hero only. This Alchemist has been farming the jungle. He's had a very good time of it, and it's not even like they're trading out very poorly, as we're gonna see again the replay. And it all leads with the missed stun by Gabby. This should have been so much easier for them.
Especially because of the multicast. But just a little off point there. GPK with just a really good read on the situation, running up, knowing that Gabby would probably overshoot his split earth, anticipating GPK to just run straight back. Still though, that Radiant's just 800 gold away for Armel. But you know, the rest of Gambit, well, their cores are looking pretty good right now, as the Bloodseeker has a 500 lead on the Leshrac, the only core you really can compare to at this point.
Armel running past the mine. Doesn't seem like he wants to stop to kill it. Vampire now has hit his level 6, which is very crucial for him in slowing down some of these tower pushes.
That's certainly another big thing, right? Is they've managed to take down towers, haven't lost a tower themselves. Gambit can just play the river and up against TNC.
And you've got KP going for this Midas. Their lineup is slowing down a little bit while they wait for Armel to get that Radiance.
Yeah. Gambit has also taken a minute or two. Not trying to make any moves just yet. Vampire will start setting up inside the enemy jungle with his Soul Ring and Clarities. Gabby, he can run around, try and go for some of these towers with Boots of Travel, but the mines are making it really annoying for him as he rotates around. Especially with the Sand King also defending with his Sandstorm. There's not a lot of opportunities for you to use a good Diabolic Edict.
Sand King still trying to catch up in this game. Wants to be a little bit more ahead than this. Dream set up the Rupture. This is going to be a pretty easy kill if nobody else from TNC is going to follow through.
Blast off incoming, an extra big boost of damage.
This is pretty unfortunate that he's not going to get his Midas during this time.
That's true.
And you're going to get 2 BKBs potentially at a very good time for Gambit. And I think they want to get into these fights early on where the Lesh Radiant, or the Lesh and the Alk Radiance doesn't do that much damage when they get double BKB.
Right.
But the Alk is getting so far ahead.
Double BKB plus the pipe that's going to be on our Sand King.
Yeah, but look at how far Armel is. Maybe it doesn't even matter
at
this rate. It's 3,000 gold ahead of anybody else in the game.
They need a good smoke gank at this point, or they need to be faster at taking these towers, one or the other. It's funny how just controlling one small area of the map with an Alchemist lineup is good enough for you. They forfeited almost everything else but this triangle. But as long as they keep stacking for him and such, they push out the lane. Shashlo is going to be blown up here in the bottom with Tims and Gabby combining forces. Now, Vampire is going to start setting up some remote mines and maybe a blast off, but sentries laid out all over the place. So looking like a tier 1 for tier 2 trade-off here. An experience advantage for Gambit for sure, because they're able to spread out and farm jungle.
Gotta be careful. Was getting quite low. But Alknote now going for the BKB. They're gonna secure themselves some bounty runes. They'll grab 2, which pushes his lead even further. Pretty much has the BKB now because of that.
Stacks for GPK's Gyrocopter, who is also going for a very fast BKB rather than the Aghanim Scepter. It'll slow down his farm, but it will mean he hits a very big mid-game window, as you were talking about, double BKBs. But it does kind of feel like they have stalled out. They did really well for themselves, I would say, in the laning phase. I think they kind of overplayed their lanes a bit, the Gyrocopter especially.
I think this is partially due to techies, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really push with this hero, right? You're going to be... You're creating an area of the map where the enemy team can't go, but getting yourself even further than that is just a little bit more difficult.
They spot the Lina. FNG will be able to grab him here. Blast off, not quite enough mana. Does have it now. It's only level 1 anyway, so they really need GPK to be able to get this damage, and he does run into some mines now. They're going to throw out the Chain Frost. The blast off doesn't actually land. The Chen heal comes down as well.
Now Vampire's quite low.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, especially he's going to bop the Soul Ring. Of course he does. Lays down a mine, but that's just going to lead to his doom.
I think they were trying to corral him into the mine so they wouldn't have to commit, but they end up just getting him killed instead, and the Chain Frost didn't even really connect too hard as Armel runs through a bunch of mines, doesn't seem to care at all, has that BKB complete. Maybe they start going for this mid tower now with the techies dead.
Part of the ineffectiveness of the techies was the fact they have this Leshrac versus Sand King matchup, right? Like that lane, if you play against a lot of safe lane carries, you're gonna just dominate it with Burrow Strike and high levels of blast off. But I mean, he knew they couldn't actually do anything because you need to max out Sandstorm, not Burrow Strike. You don't have the range to get on top of that Leshrac, so what's the point of leveling blast off in the first place?
And if they win the Sentry War, then you're going to get pushed out of your Sandstorm every single time.
Yeah.
Especially when you hit level 6, which is what we saw when they killed him twice.
Yeah, most people can't fight underneath Sandstorm because it's too much damage over time.
And actually ping successfully. They know where he is. They're going to run into him right now. Gabby finds the Yule Scepter. The stun.
Burrow Strike fast enough. He's still getting hit by the stun. Gets a little bit of distance, but there's then the LSA to follow up. Then the Fire Blast. Then the Laguna Blade. And then you're dead. Over to mid lane.
Almost has a heart now.
I mean, look at that, man. He just farmed underneath the Gyrocopter's ultimate. He's like,
almost 6K ahead of anybody else in the game.
Okay. Maybe the narrative of this game changes a little
All right.
It seems like Gambit are like, they're running out of time. They just can't seem to hit the base anymore. So can they just like stall and go late? The Alchemist is going to have this big mid-game hit, right? Can you actually out-carry him, start going for those 6-slotted gyrocopter when the Alch is, 8-slotted?
I don't think so. I feel like the Alch is going to push the pace a little bit too fast for the techies, especially once it gets to the heart. How many mines do you think it'll take for him to die?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of mines.
Do you think they'll push without sentries? These are the questions you answer.
I think you buy a gem at some point, too.
Once you get that gem, what do you do? And TNC are some of the more prolific gem buyers in Dota. They'll do it even if you don't have techies on your team. They just love that vision control when they're ahead. That's why it feels so suffocating to play against them, is you lose that lead, you start to lose your map, they deward everything.
Their Dota IQ is like off the charts when it comes to reading who's stronger in these team fights. When they know they're stronger, they're just like, all right, we're just going to play around each other and run at you with a gem, and what are you going to do?
Gambit we have yet to see confused by that. If they run into Coop, into KP here,
nice
not
burst
ideal for them.
Lead off. Yeah, as you said, not ideal, but a pickoff nonetheless.
Yeah, kill is a kill at this point. Tim's also might get caught out here. Thinking about going for one more wave, but looks like he's just gonna blast it out, go for the TP, should be just fine. Not even close. He's got the Aether Lens. They're just trying to play this distance battle against his techies, which I think is the right idea. Very close to the heart on Armel, which is the item I think they wait for. He's got 3,000 HP now.
Yeah, he's got his whole inventory is just shades of orange, yellow, and red. All strength items. 3,000 HP with Magic Community. Now 3,700 HP.
Run through all the mines.
Yeah, just run wherever you want to. I mean, the vision game is great for Gambit for now because of all those mines and such. But now that Armel can just go.
Now they will say
4 magic resistance creeps too.
All right, so now they're gonna say challenge him. We have a Chen. He's got infinite heals, divine favored. Do something about it. Oh, Tim's don't run there, don't run there, don't run there, don't run there! Oh no, he's gonna die, he's gonna die!
Our first techies kill. I like how he only exploded one of the remote mines. Very, very well done by him. That's nice control. Poor Tims. That man's in what is looking to be a winning game. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's still, I feel for him. Because he doesn't know where anything is at that point, and he's just panicking. That's the thing about techies. Once you hear that noise and you get hit by the first remote,
10-6, Vampire. Just trying to play on this high ground, but the core Ogre can just wander up. There is going to be Armel TPing in. He stuns himself with the Unstable Concoction, but they still manage to get the Yules. Shashlo doesn't have actually Burrow Strike up, so he can't actually get away from any of this right now, and he's going to be chased down by TNC pretty easily.
Yeah, that's 2 kills for them. They still have all the magic res creeps, like you said. Arch is walking around just picking up even more to add to his commune. I mean, this is just so hard to deal with. They've almost got a pipe on this Ogre. As we see again, Tim's. Come on, man, just back up. You don't need to be here. Just let Alk do this.
Well, that was terrifying. A straight mech for March. No boots required. Just run around, giving 40 magic resistance and a mech. It's happy times. All right, well, see what Gambit do about this. They have plenty of smokes. They have the Aghanim Scepter. Oh, actually, he went away from that BKB. Didn't notice that. He went the Aghanim Scepter, so he's going to go sort of the late game builds. He's going to say, all right, now it's pretty much Gambit's turn, right? To say,
oh boy, KB
can't fight into them. Let's just move to the other side of the map.
He barely takes damage against all those mines.
Yeah.
And now Armel is going to say, I'm Alk with a Chen and I've got a heart. I regen for 167. I've got a pipe and 4 magic resist creeps. How much damage do I take?
He's up to 62% magic resistance.
It's just silly.
And Techie's mines, they aren't magic.
They're going to find GPK
more either, so. That is a nasty pickoff because GPK is like the only hero they cannot afford to die right now. He's just got to keep on farming with his Aghanim Scepter, build into the Butterfly, Mjolnir, whatever else you build against an out that's 6 slotted.
He is now about 10,000 gold ahead of anybody. And Gabby's gonna look for it. There is a Burrow Strike available. He's still gonna get stunned out, and he's got vision of him. Probably doesn't do enough damage though.
Yeah.
With that hood.
What's unfortunate is that like it feels like we're just not really utilizing Dream at all. You know, it's like everything is just TNC going on somebody, and either they get the kill or they don't, and then they just move forward.
Dream's trying. I think he's just frustrating because he can't fight into this Alk, and as long as everybody from TNC sits behind him, nobody really wants to be in this place.
It was already hard enough because, you know, he had to lane against the Ogre too, another hero that's hard to like just rupture and go kill.
Yeah.
His only real hope is combining with the Sand King to kill that Leshrac.
Now they're gonna walk into Roche. I mean, Alk lineups like this with Chen and Ogre, or like a pipe carrier in general, just, it feels so funny. It's like, do something. You can't? All right, well, then you've just lost. You're slowly gonna lose.
They didn't bother throwing sentries into the pit before Armel walked in.
Armel is so unconcerned about dying in this game.
Yeah. In this room, they're gonna lead off with a Rupture onto KP.
Armel's gonna pop his ulti now though, and the stun.
Oh, Armel, keep on getting bashed. No, he gets off the Unstable Concoction. Get outside the pit for a moment, dance around.
He doesn't Roche like incredibly quickly or anything. It's just Gambit is struggling to find any sort of way to initiate on a mission. Shoshler does have that Blink Dagger. I think he might actually
Blood Right's gonna reveal. They're gonna go for the up center. Oh, they're just gonna do the Burrow Strike. Can he grab it? He grabs it in time. Shoshler!
And he gets
the big save, gets the Aegis and the last hit onto the Roshan. Don't think he's getting out of here alive, but you did your best, buddy.
It was very well done.
Yep.
He wasted a good 2 minutes of their time.
Yep.
Got the last hit.
And Gambit, we're not positioned well enough.
Now Tim's has just died because of that. He walks up the hill without his Alk first. Did not utilize the buddy system.
See that one again. The Blood Right giving a lot of vision, and as they lose that vision, Shoshlo.
That timing couldn't have been better.
Perfect. Unstable Concoction being activated by Armel, but Dream has a good read of this, plays inside the trees before he TPs back.
And now Gem picked up by the Alchemist. That's what we talked about. They will pick it up. It's only 9,000 gold ahead, which isn't insurmountable, and they do have 2 very nicely scaling cores.
Yeah, they do. Both the Bloodseeker and the Gyrocopter are a decent chunk ahead of Leshrac, and especially KP's Ogre Magi. TNC did sacrifice a lot of their farm to give Armel most of it, and Gabby the remainders. Everybody else is going to be suffering in net worth. Then again, KP doesn't need too many items. Just wants pipe. Now he's going to go Lotus Orb, anything to make the Alchemist
buff this man up. Even Solar Crest after Vlad's, I'm okay with any of it. Because you want to hit this timing window while your Alk is so far ahead of anybody else in the game.
Well, I guess there's going to be one more big item timing coming in. Gabby completing his BKB. And TNC are just going slowly but surely, pushing in all the lanes. You can hit this tier 2, then rotate through into mid lane. Just trying to corral Gambit deeper and deeper inside their base. And Gambit doing their best to resist that pressure. Trying to stay away from TNC while simultaneously pushing every lane out that TNC is not in.
Looks like they want to continue going even without the Aegis. I think they read that their timing is just way too good right now on this Alk. And I think they've also correctly read that there's no way that he can have mines down here. So Armel just gonna go at it with the Edict. The Frost Armor is not helping this tower one bit. The tower's gonna fall so quickly. The Chain Frost is gonna get laid out just to kill the creeps, to slow down the wave.
Just to see if they can bring back the backdoor protection at some point, just to slow this all down. The blast off to be able to silence up Armel. They stun him as well. He has taken no damage at all. That was like 2% of his HP, and it was instantly regen back up.
Armel still trying to challenge them to fight him. They don't have the best initiation cap, but you don't really need that if you just have this guy run forward at all times as like this unstoppable force.
Yeah, your initiation is just kind of hitting objectives.
In being alive.
Forcing Gambit. Eventually, you do have to defend. For now, though, Gambit will give up 1 lane and a shrine.
And this Techie's high ground, it is vaunted, but he's relying on the reputation of it more than the mine placement.
Yeah.
You've got to place so many mines down there to deter the Alchemist, and they do have the gem.
And he still needs his Aghanim Scepter, too.
Yeah, he's got to deal with the waves more than anything.
Yeah.
Rather than just having mines up by his tower.
Maelstrom for Dream, a very late one. 28-minute Maelstrom.
Armel's picked up a basher for himself so he can one-on-one fight this Bloodseeker.
Game plan for Gambit. Smoke up, see if we can get a pick off, especially around this Leshrac, who's always pushing in the lane that the Alchemist is not in. But he does so very safely. Gabby with
trying to place a ward from the low ground.
Oh, they have vision of him. But they don't really have the cleanest initiation because the Sand King's just a bit too far away. Really surprised they didn't try and force that kill onto the Leshrac.
I think it's a hard kill. He's got BKB up.
Yeah, that's true. They only have the 1 stun with Burrow Strike. I guess technically they have Sinister Gaze, but that doesn't last too long. Aeon Disc for Tim's, another hero they're not going to feel comfortable initiating on. So who do they go for? Do they go for the Aeon Disc support, the Chen that doesn't matter, or the 3 very tanky cores? Well, they're just going to run at the Gambit crew.
A lot of mines.
They're going to have a lot of mines out. That's going to do a lot of damage to KB. They're going to try and turn GPK, laying out some flat cannon shots. Armel is certainly not the hero they're going to be able to bring down, but maybe some of the backline with the epicenter going out. Gabby with his BKB, he may not last for long. In fact, he will go down away from his allies as he tries to sandwich Gambit, but Gambit push right back into him. A 1-for-1 trade-off, very favorable for Gambit.
Yeah, Gambit will be quite pleased about that. Their Alk stymied trying to run at them.
I mean, they pushed this long enough to be able to get the BKB on the gyrocopter. Now there's a lot more credible threat there.
GPK gonna run down the river. Armel doesn't have an easy way to get to him. No Blink Dagger build or anything like that. We talked about it. They're not going for initiation. They're just trying to get this Alchemist big enough where he can just stand in front. And you actually want to avoid this timer where he has to get Ags for everybody. That's where he starts to lose a little bit of his luster because he's not making himself any stronger.
Right. And again, they sacrificed a lot of their other net worth to buff up this Alchemist. He starts handing out those Aghanim Scepters. They're not going to be nearly as powerful. Biggest one would be the Leshrac. Since Gabby has done a good job keeping himself slightly ahead of the Bloodseeker in net worth.
This game could have conceivably been over if Armel was able to get that Aegis onto himself.
Oh, yeah.
But very nice steal by Gambit. Timing on that Sand King stun couldn't have been more perfect as he even got the last hit. And although it says 19k gold lead, Armel can't get much bigger.
This is getting to the point where this game is probably just either going to end to the TNC's favor in the next 5 minutes. Nice Burrow Strike in. It's going to be able to catch the Chen and all of his creeps.
Nice, and this is going to slow down the push even more. Gambit kind of doing it.
Yeah. TNC's either going to close this game out, or we're going to slowly but surely, Gambit's just going to grind their way back into it.
And
pick off after pick off.
Big item for that too. Techie's got his Aghanim Scepter.
Yep.
They're slowly starting to put the pieces together. And if they could defend the next Roshan, that could be a turning point.
Yep. I like this mining spot that is in his triangle area in the trees. That one's a nice one as well.
I mean, Vampire's really creative.
Yeah. You gotta lure TNC into an area. It's a little bit too obvious to just play inside of your base and remote mine that up. Then you can play around relatively easily.
He spreads
pretty
hard.
Yeah. Speaking of which, they still do not have a pipe, by the way, because they had to go for the Blink Dagger for Shochlo. they needed a form of initiation to try and force fights more. And so he's only just now thinking about going back for the pipe, which they desperately need considering the entirety of magic damage from the Ogre, Lina, and Leshrac, plus Radiance.
And I like what Vampire's doing. He's laying down remote mines pretty much everywhere in the lanes so that TNC can't really push. He's just trying to extend.
Oh, that was a close one from Tim's.
Even though the net worth lead grows, it's all behind this Alchemist right now.
Yeah.
We talked about it. He can't get that much bigger, so he's going to lay down the...
Gabby knows. Split Earth to be able to cut down the trees to run into Vampire. Vampire, well, he'll try and maybe run to his remote mines or just go for a blast-off suicide. Doesn't even do that. Can't hide away enough from Gabby.
And now with that death, they might go for it.
On the high ground, but
that's a pretty big pickoff, and Armel takes a lot of damage without all those creeps next to him. They are coming in now, though. He's getting a little bit ahead of himself. But the creep wave is just going to get killed mid, I think, yeah. Vampire, very smart.
Yep. Now, if only he had a way to be able to stop the top wave as well, but you're probably at a point that if you're TNC, you have to wait for Roshan. It's been a while anyway. In fact, it will spawn right now.
Pretty decent-ish, decently late spawn. Helps out Gambit a little bit as the walk-in see another mine. Armel's gonna start hitting this.
All right, can Shotlow do it again? Can this Sand King steal another Aegis, and this time Cheese?
I bet he walks to the exact same space.
Yep.
And then he waits for the Bloodright to come in for the vision.
Yep.
And they're gonna do it again.
Lead off on Rupture on a KP instead. Follow-up Burrow Strike, immediately Yule Sceptered up though, and now the Sand King's gonna be in trouble. He does manage to get a Force Staff off. The Hood of Defiance can still protect him a little bit. The Chain Crawl's bouncing back and forth, but at the same time, Armel does stun himself. His damage is completely out of this fight. That means GPK can focus on some of the back line. He tries to run him over. Shotlow still trying to get away though, and FNG, he's gonna be quickly eaten up by Armel, who's now gonna be able to get the stun onto the Gyrocopter as well. They don't have any of these disengage tools, the Lich and the Sand King being dead. Nobody can stun Armel, but then again, nobody can catch Gambit.
Look at Vampire. Hiding in the wings. He's got some mines in there. I think he wants to try to get the last hit. Maybe if he could get the blast off perfectly timed.
Well, Lina just ran into the pit with the gem, so I don't... Maybe it's just underneath Roshan so they still don't see it.
Vampire's starting to tick out pretty low.
All right, well, Vampire's now been seen, so he's going to be hit by a multicast and will probably die here. Tries to go for the blast off. And it doesn't do a whole lot.
That was almost a really cool play.
Yeah.
But now you've given up Aegis and Cheese. No way to defend this out either.
But all right, he's waiting for the Leshrac because he feels like he can't die, so what's the point of picking up an Aegis?
He's not wrong. He's gonna make absolute sure.
So Gabby will get here in time to grab that extra life and the cheese.
What a selfless teammate. So we're gonna see that again. They did a really good job of keeping Armel out of this fight, mainly because Armel stunned himself. And then he got rocketed. This fight could have looked a lot worse for Gambit, especially if he was able to Abyssal Blade up Dream.
It would have been nice if GBK just run straight past Armel. You really just can't do any damage to him. You got to focus on hitting those backline heroes and kiting the Alk. But as it is, it's not just the Alk that you have to fear. As we saw, he wasn't really a big factor in that fight. That was mostly Gabby, being a hero that just can't really be challenged with his Heart, Yule Scepter, BKB, Kaya.
They're gonna go for the high ground again. This should be the death push. TNC
Storm
gonna fortify their wave. There is a minefield sign, but they're just gonna go to the left of it slightly.
Even opening up some of the trees that they can play around. Okay, Rupture onto KP once again.
Not sure if they care about it. They're gonna clear out the tree waves so that there's no Sand King epicenter, but he's actually all the way to the right. But it doesn't matter if you just lose your base like this.
Chain Frost is going to be a lot of damage. Maybe they can actually overwhelm Armel. Dream's trying to run him down still, but the regen over time is allowing Armel to be able to survive as TNC back him up with that BKB usage.
And they're just going to let him heal to full and go for it again, I'd imagine. In fact, he's going to TP out. Chen should bring him back.
Needs some regen, but they want to be able to finish off this melee barracks. A little bit harder to go for this one since that minefield sign.
Yeah, just walk around to the left again.
See if they can get some sort of Sinister Gaze or Force Staff plays that could possibly get them into the mines. That's what they really need here is Lotusaur protecting Gabby. Oh, there's the Sinner's Gaze trying to pull him back in as best as possible with the first strike out. Not quite over the remote mines though, and Armel will be able to run to the left and be fine, but Gabby just runs forward with his BKB. Doesn't actually finish off any of these heroes. He's gonna run to the minefield side though, but he does have that Aegis. So they just blew all the remote mines, and now TNC can back in. GPK, Epicenter going out and does manage to hit the Lina with his burrow strike, but doesn't really get the most amount of damage. His allies couldn't follow that up. They weren't ready to go. They were still low and regenning up. Vampire tries to position himself again to be able to get some remote mines out. They take away the Aeon Disc of the Lina, but now Dream has been Abyssal Blade up. Fortunately, Armel got stopped by the Laguna Blade out. Another round of remote mines going to do some damage, but still not enough. They do have the BKB from Armel back up for him to be able to challenge the Gyrocopter, but he's got his Satanic. He activates it. He's going to be able to get a life steal out of that one, and the Chain Frost bouncing out and finish off. Please hit Gabby. He does manage to bounce back to him, but the rest of TNC will be able to split themselves up while Armel single-handedly deals with GPK. The rest of TNC looking to be able to retreat, but they can't leave the Alchemist by himself. Uh-oh, Dream, does he just overextend himself? Does manage to get a mash in. Armel finished him off. Double kill for him. TNC in style take a second lane of barracks.
The fun part about that is that TNC didn't have to do any of that. They took the racks and they still fought under the minefield sign. They got themselves really low, which allowed Dream to just run around as freely as he wanted. And they still didn't really care that much. They're like, well, why not?
Now they've got level 25 talent for the Alk, so he's gonna be swinging like a madman. How long until our minefield sign? Oh, it's another 3 minutes, so you won't even have that threat for the next high ground defense for Gambit. Nothing is gonna change for Gambit net worth or item-wise.
And you saw so many green dots on the ground. They're just getting cleared up. TNC is just face-checking all of them now.
4-time multicast Midas will help KP get a Scythe device. He could buy it out if he wants to. No need, though.
And FNG a little bit out of position right now. The creeps are actually hitting. Oh,
he's away.
It'll get bigger and bigger.
TNC.
Hey.
All right. Let's make a pit stop here. Let's go ahead and pick up some bounty runes.
One set of racks left. Armel gonna grab it. Should get some ags for his team now too.
Yeah, good. He's got 8,000 gold. You can give an Aghanim Scepter to that Leshrac, who's already so big.
Yeah, they've got one on the Lina already, which I agree with. That's what almost killed Dream there. And it'll really help against the Satanic Gyro, because he doesn't really want to pop that Satanic until he's about around the time where Tim should be able to kill him.
Yeah. It is a really good counter. Use your lifesteal too early and TNC is just going to ignore you for that period. Use it too late and Tim's may just cut through you with that 850 pure damage.
Octarine core now completed. It looks like they're just going to wait things out a little bit though before they go for it again. Could even wait for the next Roshan, but...
2.5 minutes for that, I guess. I mean, they're running out on slots. Not just for the Alchemist, but Gabby doesn't really have a whole lot of room to improve either. He can get his Yasha and Kaya.
Yeah, they're getting real close to hitting the peak of their timing.
Oh, hey.
And they're picking
Aghanim
the
Scepter
center
for KP instead.
Oh, really? Okay. The double stuns?
Yeah, the double stuns.
And the Leshrac one is pretty underrated.
Yeah, when you have this many items, I think it is.
Yeah. You survive forever, you'll run out those BKBs eventually, and then you'll just lay in Lightning Storm damage nonstop.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. And it's only one hit, so.
Ah, it's fine. He'll get it eventually. His time will come. As they are laying out mines everywhere in this mid lane. Their last set of racks, Gambit, struggling to hold on here.
Talking about the Trinity mines. Is that what Toby called it? The trio that you lay on a high ground? Well, this is just your last-ditch effort mines. You just throw a remote mine anywhere you can. That fits inside the base. They gotta get a Sinister Gaze Force Staff combo. That's what they need. Force Staff somebody into a ton of remote mines.
They had a pretty nice gaze, but what ended up happening is Gabby had the Aegis.
Yeah.
So a lot of that went out the window. the net worth has just steadily gone down. Win probability, 97%.
Gambit. Don't let TNC get into that high ground.
They fort. They want to go for this before the Aegis.
Yeah.
And look at this team, how aggressive they are.
Right field sign. Actually a little bit off the mark there. This isn't actually protecting the mines. They throw, oh, he did force that, but that had Aeon disc. That means Tim's just easily resets, and now there's nothing to stop TNC. And look at Armel go.
Once that
multicast after multicast onto the techies. Missile after missile. They're going to try and chase in onto KP. Blow him up real quickly. He does have the cheese, but if they chase him, no, he got off the cheese just in time before the missile landed.
Hex in 1 second.
They're going to turn around Dream. He's going to get bursted down by the Laguna Blade, but GPK doing so much damage. The flat cannon shots will manage to finish off the Lina. Mass buying back, though, and the missile, it's going to be able to chase down Armel. Can he actually get this kill by himself? GPK with this Divine Rapier came in big time, but Armel with a BKB. He's going to try and hide into the trees. He's going to juke off the unstable concoction. Now he comes back in. Does he have any more disables? He just doesn't have the mana. Oh, Armel, he's going to man fight him, but GPK, he does have a Satanic. This is not a good play for him. Armel just needs to keep kiting him around, but where is the rest of Gambit? Where's the rest of TNC? The Lina tried to catch up, but Gambit are not going to be there in time to stop Armel from retreating. It would have been a massive kill.
He did not see that coming.
No.
He did not know about that Divine Rapier gyrocopter. He laid into them.
All that vision, all that flat cannon damage.
And now Tim's has been caught out. Does he have a cancel for dash hit?
What?
And that was the buyback on the Lina.
Incredibly lucky pickup of the bash first hit. And now the Lina's dead for 100 seconds. Gabby is still dead for 52. And they were just praying, please let it be an early Roshan, but it's not. Another 2 minutes.
Drop the boots, all of a sudden you've got an opportunity for yourself. Oh, this game's getting a little bit scary now. GPK is so strong. Look at how quickly he takes down the tower. These mega creeps don't matter because they can throne so quickly if he keeps that rapier. So really all it takes is another fight like that where TNC get a little bit too over-eager with their buybacks.
And after considering how far down they were in net worth, right? And the killing sprees and such that they got out of it, now being able to get 4 bounty runes, there is a wealth of items that we're going to see flooding in for Gambit.
Yeah.
The MKB is almost done for GPK.
The 31K lead that they have is very misleading.
Yeah.
Because the Alk has been topped out for some time. And you saw him try to one-on-one against the gyrocopter, and he got destroyed.
Armel, though, he's going to get an MKB for himself. That was part of the problem whenever he would man fight GPK.
And this next Roche is going to be so big for both sides.
Yeah. He actually pawns off his Radiance, saying there's no need to carry that item anymore. Okay. Well, we're just going to reset until Roshan spawns. That'll be in our next big engagement. Unless one of these teams wants to try and sneak a smoke play, but Gambit, they've just got to let Dream push out this bottom lane and try and give a bit more map control. It is unfortunate, but it's their side lanes where they first lost their barracks, and that means those lanes are always tough to deal with. Be a lot easier if it was just the mid lane. They could camp out at mid, be near that Roshan pit, but as it is...
setting up around this area, both teams recognize how important this is. This could just be the game for either side.
There it is, Roshan is spawned. And it is going to be a refresher shard, not an Aghanims. Gabby, using his boots of travel. This is going to be the advantage that TNC had, not just with the barracks being down, but also Gabby and all his mobility with the boots of travel, being able to push into the side lanes, force somebody from Gambit back, and then trying to assault the Roshan. But a long-range side device. Doesn't manage to get the multicast, though, so GPK is uninhibited right now. Will deny his own ward, preventing the gold going to TNC.
Shashlo's just waiting on the high ground, seeing what sort of initiation opens up for him as Vampire walks into the Roshan pick, gets caught by the stun, or stepped out. Rupture is on Gabby.
They do manage to get some vision. The side device, though, they're going to try and chain stun off this gyrocopter, but the Lotus Orb is laid out onto him. So, and the unstable concoction actually stunning out Armel. Not great for them. They've already lost KP. Now they managed to get the match.
They're on top of Armel.
Trouble, half health. Blastoff's going to come in, but he does manage to get his BKB off as well as the mech. That's going to be okay. He also has the hand of God from Chen, so they shouldn't overcommit too much, thinking they're going to get a kill before that burst comes in. The unstable concoction landing on a GPK. They need to be able to finish bomb. Oh, the Laguna Blade's not quite enough to get shots off, but maybe gyrocopter. He does have his
so low.
He has a Divine Rapier. They chain stun him down, and he falls. Divine Rapier on the deck.
And it's going to go the way of Armel.
Armel's going to take it, and he's going to go for the Roshan.
They do have buyback on their gyrocopter, but it looks like they're just going to try to hold the high ground, and now look at how much damage he does. Vampire, he's in the area. He's waiting for an opportunity. Tims knows about this. He's feeling him out.
TNC saying, fool me once. Take that Aegis away. Take that kill. We'll never let you get around.
Oh, and Tims actually found him with the stun on the high ground.
Vampire was caught by the long-range LSA from Tims.
Instant buyback.
To a buyback. Our gyrocopter, I think, wants to hold on to his so he can buy another Divine Rapier, but I don't think TNC is going to give him the room to breathe.
Waiting to see what happens.
Maybe if they give up Megas?
I mean, 50 seconds is a long time against this lineup.
Especially with the Diabolic Edict, level 25 talent for the Leshrac. Not
only two buybacks that really matter. The Alchemist and the Gyrocopter are up. But so much of that Gyro's damage was tied up in that Rapier. It was the only reason any of those fights looked remotely close.
How many remote mines are there here underneath this sign? Well, me not matter. Double force staff. They're trying to get Armel into a position underneath those mines. KP will gladly take it if possible because he does have that Aegis. The Abyssal Blade goes onto Armel, allowing Dream to be able to retreat. 15 seconds till the Gyrocopter's back up. They just have to let Megas happen at this point. A refresher actually being used by Gambit to be able to catch Vampire with the Yule Scepter, so he has a dieback. Now it's going to be a 4 versus 5 for the fate of the throne of Gambit.
And this is going to go down really fast. Questioning his decision now to wait for this, but this is an all-in.
Rapier is on its way, activates the flat cannon shot with the Burrow Strike, starting things off. They do have that extra bit of damage coming out from GPK. They're going to be able to take down the Gyrocopter.
No solo!
Down! The second Divine Rapier on the deck. Gabby controlled up, bash, bash, bash from Dream. He's going to be going down as well. 2 cores dead from TNC, and Gambit are going to take a third.
They're going to get more.
KP.
They need to march down mid right now.
2 Divine Rapiers. What a hold from Gambit saying, no, we don't buy back here. We wait out the Gyrocopter. We give them Megas. We get that Divine Rapier into his hands. That's the only way we can possibly win a fight.
That was such a risky fight for them, but they decided to go for it anyways. They barely hold on to their base. And now GPK, he's going to start this assault.
The highest risk may have just netted the greatest of rewards. A double Divine Rapier from GPK marching down the mid lane. It's going to be tough, though. TNC have plenty of buybacks.
There's none on the Ogre, though.
Yes.
So they're going to get a 4-on-5 fight, which may be their only way to really take this. And on top of that, if the Alt goes in, he doesn't have ult. It doesn't really matter when he comes back in the second time around.
That's true.
They will take the base very quickly. Butterfly picked up by the Alchemist, still has that buyout. Tims is going to lay down some vision, but look at how quickly GPK takes this.
He's chunking it down, and he's going to He's going to go for the tier 4s. He's saying, you have to buy back. You have to do it now. I'm going to force it out of you. 1 tier 4 already down, but GPK starts to
be careful. Back yourself out. You have to be patient here.
He needs to allow shots flow to be able to find an opening for him to follow up.
This is a true 4-on-5. Gambit does not care about mega creeps at all. It's really just for the throne. The creeps are in a decent position for them, but it looks like they're content with just taking racks. Gonna reset the game for themselves, all the TPs back. They force the buybacks, and now this game is almost entirely on even ground.
Yeah, because now we're gonna have buybacks flooding in for Gambit. Gyrocopter has been able to farm his backup, and TNC, you know they're gonna wanna play really careful. They're like, we've got Megas. We've got no buybacks on some of our heroes. Let's just chill out.
Yeah, and his decision not to use the buyback. But I don't even think it matters at this point. He's got 2 rapiers on him if he dies without it.
That's true, that's true. It would have to be some like crazy freak scenario where he TPs back in to pick him up, and that's just unlikely.
We'll see what happens though. TNC, they push so hard for that. They try to bait out the buyout of the Gyrocopter.
So what are you going to do? Pick up Daedalus and drop phase boots once you start a fight?
I guess. This game for me felt like it was sleepy almost. We were just going into the gyrocopter against Alk. Alk just gets really big way too fast. Then the game slowly starts to peter out and Alk wins. And now all of a sudden, Gambit, I mean, that has gone sharply up.
The win probability multiple times was closing in on 100%, but now has jumped back up to a 20-80 lead for TNC.
I think it might even be closer than that because of the buyout situation.
Yeah.
Gyro does completely buy out. I think this is the right choice. Without the double rapier,
yeah,
sort of pointless anyways.
He wasn't sure what that last item to change out for the phase boots was, and it was going to be Daedalus. And
he wants a way to fight against the Alk when he's BKB'd.
Yeah. That'll help slow down the Alchemist, but also make him a lot tankier. That is
one fight away from either side winning right now.
Yep. And if you're TNC, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to take that fight, right?
And TNC want this game to slow down back to what it was. They don't like this pressure on them.
Let's go back to where we were choking out your map.
And Gambit's in a rough position because TNC will go through backdoor really quickly.
Yeah.
With the Lesh 25 and the Alchemist. So Gambit pushing out their lanes isn't entirely making things safe.
Yeah.
They've got to make sure TNC are pushed back into their base before they make any sort of plays.
That's a good point.
They don't want to get into one of these weird wonky base race situations.
That's why Vampire's job, he's just trying to get as many mines down all over his base.
That's why he's doing this, not just like from a defensive point of view, but if you do get into these base races, you want TNC to have to worry about this.
Yeah. Somebody give Vampire a little bit of experience, though. He's just shy of the 150 GPM talent. That could be where this game goes. This Gambit may just have to stretch it out for the long haul. Vlad's for FNG.
Look at how poor March is. Just the Greaves and a wand.
That's not been a fun life for him. Meanwhile, he's holding the gems that Tim's, he doesn't want to carry anymore because he's trying to finish up a refresher.
Yeah, so much of that gold lead has now been cut off. 22K. Gambit, it looks like they're going down mid again. Just gonna push this in very aggressively. It looks like they're actually squatting up. They want to go before the buybacks from TNC come back up.
They gotta force it somewhere in this next 2 or 3 minutes.
I really like this timing. I feel like you're playing to win here by doing this.
Take away that wolf for him.
I mean, the Chen doesn't exist as a hero right now, especially against the flag. All your creeps are dying really fast. So Gambit are in a pretty good position here. They're gonna try to bait GPK out, force a bad fight from TNC, and look at how quickly that tower goes down.
Jesus, they're gonna have to do something about this inside the Vice. Do they have the 4 steps to protect him? Of course they do.
They're gonna reset things.
Reset it again. Slow him down. FNG just making sure he does manage to have the bro strike. Go down.
Oh, he's gone!
He just wiped that gyrocopter, who does have a buyback. Dream's gonna try and go and kill somebody here, but he just can't man fight anybody. Gabby is actually out life-stealing any of Dream's damage. Divine Rapiers. Tim's is gonna take one of them. And the buybacks, well, 4 staff away. Our Sand King might just be able to make it out of here.
And he's got the buyout, but
yeah,
how much does it really mean for him?
You're missing your 2 damage items. What happened there? He just blew up.
I don't think they expected that much damage to come on.
Yeah. I mean, he still had the remnants of Frost Shield up on him, too.
Yeah, and Vampire wasn't there for the additional 4 staff either. Oh, boy. I mean, I think they correctly thought it's kind of a 4-on-4. March doesn't really have any items. His creeps die in 2 seconds.
They just kind of needed to reset until the 4 staff was back up.
Yes. That was what kept things alive. The net worth, it was 22K a second ago. Now it's 51. It's more than doubled once he lost the 2 rapiers.
And TNC, even though they have this, and even though we know Gambit is just going to be utterly incapable of fighting without the Divine Rapiers, they still say, we might as well just wait 2 more minutes.
The fun part about it is the Gyro's going to have, they're going to be generous and say, like, you don't have to buy out. Because now when you revive, you have a Scotty, a Butterfly, a Satanic, and a BKB. No boots. No damage items anymore. You don't threaten.
This isn't like last time where he was able to hold his buyback and then buy a Divine Rapier. This time around.
I mean, that's really his only place, to continue to just go for Rapiers.
Yeah.
I don't know if the second one...
I'm not sure if he's going to get to this third Rapier, though. Because, not sure if there's just going to be enough creeps to hit at this point. So instead, he's going to go for Crystallis, any sort of small damage upgrade he can get. Roshan is going to be up in 30 seconds. As well as the buybacks for TNC. So that'll just be the perfect window to put the nail in Gambit's coffin right around the hour marker too. Gambit, can they survive this assault? The first strike not gonna be able to get it off in time, and that is the gem. Now lost, as well as likely a buyback for the Sand King. They're still going into Techie's mines, so who knows? They go a little too hog wild trying to chase some heroes.
Got a refresher on March now for the double ult. Gabby's gonna walk into the pit. It's got both the Ags and the refresher. Does March have an Ags? No. So now Alk doesn't have to buy him one. How nice.
Yeah. I wonder if you give... It probably doesn't count to the Aghanims granted bonus for Alchemist. So Armel almost kind of doesn't want to give him the axe. As yeah, he consumes it, but it wasn't gifted by the Alchemist, so he doesn't get that extra bonus.
That's fine.
Not a big deal.
So now comes what should be the final push of the game. If Gambit can somehow do this crazy miracle hold, I don't know how, but...
Where are the Force Staff plays?
I mean, they've done it like 4 times this game, but...
They activate the glyph to get the creeps to run through some more mines. They'll get vision. The remote mines as well. Armel, well, he's got an Aegis, so he'll start chopping away at the site. Gonna make the initiation onto Lich. But they don't want to blow up these mines just yet. They're trying to get the Force Staff onto Gabby, but it was facing the wrong direction. GPK also getting Force Staff, but finally they blow the mines to be able to take away the Aegis of Armel. But that's what he wanted the entire time anyway. Now he's going to slot in his BKB to fill that Aegis empty slot.
Yeah, he's just using that life to clear out as many mines as he possibly can. That was the right decision, but they've got to go through it again. This game now comes down to Vampire.
Pick the techies for him. Now, he's going to have to somehow win for GPK. Oh, they missed the split Earth stun. Now the defensive Force Staffs come in from Gambit immediately. Scythe of Ice being used onto Dream. They're thinking about pushing forward. Armel just a little bit scared of all these proximity mines. Stun out, 2-man stun coming out from Shotzlo. He's going to be able to lock down the 2 cores. Armel getting stunned up, but a heal coming down, and now he's going to start marching forward, go straight for GPK. He's already dead. Now the sun's up, bashing down this Bloodseeker, who just cannot do enough damage against this tanky Alchemist FNG as well. Shotzlo buying back a 3-man Burrow Strike this time around, but again, they're just out of damage. TNC, they'll be stalled up by a glyph activated, but Gambit, no, this is the end. They're gonna call it here, 61 minutes in, and TNC locked down game number 2.
Such a valiant effort from Gambit, pushing TNC to the absolute brink.
Gambit, they may have been able to push it late with the techies pick and with the Divine Rapier, but at the end of the day, it was TNC who walked away from this series, what I would say is a pretty dominant 2-0.
Yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they've dropped 1 game total in this tournament, and that was the final group stage game where they already locked up first place.
Yep.
That's unreal. That is so clean by them.
This team is looking like they are on another level, and they're going to be headed to the grand finals, waiting their opponents in the lower bracket. TNC, they just going to go through this whole thing? Are they just going to 3-0 the finals? It's feeling like this team just cannot be stopped by anybody.
Yeah, I felt like that was one of the closer situations. Some teams have had leads against them. The scores have been pretty good, but no one's pushed them to that situation where I actually felt like Gambit, for a brief second, I was like, they actually have this game.
Yep.
But that ill-fated top push where they go in with the gyrocopter, oh, they would have loved to have replayed that.
Well, the techies doesn't work out for Gambit, but TNC looking very nice. Are there any weaknesses to this squad?
A fantastic performance from TNC. Yet again, I'm just going to record that and we'll just play that back after they've played every single game at ESL 1 Hamburg. They have now gone through the entire competition, just dropping a single game during the group stage and find themselves guaranteeing themselves a top 2 spot in the grand final and going for their first ever ESL 1 championship. We've got Kyle and Toby alongside to break down game 2 and talk about the series as a whole. Kyle, where do you want to start?
Well, I had something before the game drowned down for another 30 minutes. Alchemist. This hero is kind of busted. I think that they were prepared for the techies. They had a solid laning phase, and in general, TNC just played some clean Dota 2. There isn't really much more to say.
Okay, and Toby, you were obviously as a techies fan and a connoisseur of the mining activity.
Yeah.
You're disappointed with the play.
I was. We were having a long conversation up here as well about the way you can approach techies. And the way this techies was approached was literally a zone controller. So we're going to control the points. Yes, you could say the Trinity camps, and go along these lines. But what happens when you go up against heroes who can just run through this? The Alchemist has all the regeneration. Ogre, very tanky. KP can tank all this stuff as well. And then you got Chen creeps on top of March, got a lot better by the 20-minute mark, starting to send out more of his creeps just to look around for these mines and the low-cost ones as well. So they just knew how to counter him, and I actually feel kind of sad. It took him to, I think it was like the level 8 before he actually put a second point into blast off.
Right.
So in my mind, there's like 3 techies you can play. One's the mid laner, which is able to do a lot of damage. That's the Waga style build. Sorry, let me get through it. Second is your zone controller, like we just saw from Vampire. And the third one is actually the active one who will be involved in fights. If you actually look at the fights in the last 25 minutes, there was no techies involved. He was back at base doing nothing because he couldn't push with them. But if you get these early maneuverable items, Eul Scepters, Force Staffs, Aether Lenses, increase the range, you can actually be a combat hero and think more about your dual lane you run as an off lane for it. That works bad. The matchups that go with techies, think back to the way Kuro used to play this, where it's like, we're going to snowball deliver you in to get the kill. That's what you need to do. Think about the combinations. Try Mars and techies. Try something other than just, hey, techies, you can just do what you
Kyle,
want.
look,
and I'm done.
Thank you, Toby1, for that breakdown. Kyle, it's not often we have a techies expert on the panel. We should make use of them.
Because they don't exist in Pro Dota.
Here is the final scoreboard, which does have a lot of statistics on it, has to be said. I want to also talk about very quickly, TNC aren't infallible, Kyle. There were some mistakes in there, not least of which is that they could have thrown away a 46,000 gold lead at one point with 2 rapiers on the deck.
They had no business entering the base. They had acquired Megas, they had the rapier, and they can't get... As soon as you realize, okay, this drone's not going to die in the next 5 seconds, Gyro's respawning, just leave. You know, not to twist the knife, but Wind and Rain against Beast Coast yesterday, similar scenario. They got heavily punished for. They go for a win before buybacks. They end up getting punished. They lose the game. Of course, TNC do pull it out, but that was also because then Gyro just walked high ground and just 100-0 got stun locked to death. So really, not much to say. Techies games are often impossible to understand except for the blessed among us.
Absolutely. Let's bring in a man who I'm sure is very happy, a former colleague of ours and a good friend of ours as well. March, congratulations on reaching the grand final at ESL 1.
Hello, thank you very much.
How are you doing? You must be thrilled with this performance.
Yeah, we're feeling really great. I didn't really expect us to have this smooth of the journey in this tournament, but I'm very happy with it.
How has it come together so quickly? I know you've played with KP before and you know each other well, but the other 3 have all played with each other, so it's kind of like 2 teams merging together. This has gone better than you could have ever imagined, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. I think I would like to give a shout out to Heen for kind of helping me how to, he kind of, connected me to the TNC, and when I was entering the team, he kind of told me all about the players and how they can play good and how they can play bad. I think that's why it was so easy to merge together with the team.
Right. Yeah, well, it's certainly working very well. I've got Kyle and Toby alongside. Gents, questions?
I just want to ask about the prep in the games. First one, you left the Void. They first picked it. I assume you prepped that and had a canned opener in response. Other was when they techies, were you surprised? Because Chen's one of the better matchups against it, but it's also something you guys run a lot. So how much of this was in the moment and how much was pre-planned?
For the techies, actually, we didn't. We expected them to not pick it because, when I was prepping, they weren't picking it in the important games. But KP, the TI finalist, he was saying that they're gonna pick techies this game. during the break, and then told me to start prepping for it. So we kind of thought about it in between, and then we weren't shocked when they picked it.
Okay, cool.
Toby?
I just want to say it's great to see you back and having fantastic success, man. So big props on that front. I don't want to actually ask about techies. I actually want to ask about the other imbalance that feels there. Like, how do you actually feel about Alchemist throughout this tournament as well and going forward?
I don't want to talk too much about how I think about it, but I think there's some gap where you can abuse him with his timings. That's what I look at it.
Okay, that's enough, man. Keep your secrets.
Is Alchemist more abusable than Morph Earthshaker?
I think Morph Shaker is more broken.
Okay.
More broken. I like it. All right. Thank you very much, March, and congratulations. Make sure you do your signature. We want to collect your signature on the top of the camera, so make sure you do that. Once again, congratulations on reaching the grand final. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you. There we go. Lovely, beautiful. Thank you very much to March, and congrats to TNC. Gents, final thoughts on this one.
TNC surprised by a rapier, not once, but twice. Made that game very entertaining.
Yep.
But that's one of those games that everyone's going to hate techies for because it really did drag out.
It did. Kyle?
Nothing to say. I'm happy that we witnessed it. I'm glad it's over. And I look forward to hopefully never seeing that hero in competitive Dota again.
Okay, he might be suffering a little bit, so we'll put him out of his misery. And instead, let's check in with Purge.
Hey, you guys, let's break down some of these techies problems that Gambit had. Now, normally, the way that the hero works is you want to harass your safe lane opponent and then go for the jump kills, the blast-off kills when they get low. The Sang can grab Burrow Strike at level 1 with a goal of getting this kill, and he did do a ton of damage. Now, Leshrac as well doesn't have great base damage, only 43, and that means that he needs a lot of damage items to be competitive in last hits. That's why he started basey. So now, after taking this damage, he's only got 2 tangos left, and this is a really scary situation, because the next time that blast-off is ready, he's really liable to die. But March shifts over, goes over to the small camp, and what does he find? He finds the Hill Troll Priest. And this baby heals 15 per heal. Here's his health. He is now invincible in this lane, and Techie's game is ruined because of this creep and the fact that he can sit here with 1,000 HP and keep healing Gabby. And then Chen makes the game even worse. He's got all these magic resistance auras. These are these combine to be more and more effective the more you have. He has about 60% magic resistance on the creeps. He's got like 50% on his hero, which when combined with Alk, who already combos so well Chen, he's got extra heals. He's got 60% magic resistance here. Even the Ogre with his hood and his relatively high HP just can easily tank mines. And once they get through that first tower, the game kind of opens up and it just becomes this late game situation. So Techies is a great hero sometimes, but he absolutely did not have the start options that he normally can have to have a good game, and that's why this game was so one-sided.
There we go. Toby was busy nodding to the side of me, so I think we've got the right gist of that one. Thank you very much, Purge. Time now to check in with the Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel Power Plays, where we give you 4 choices for Purge to break down. So you get to vote on all of these. This is the first one, the TNC counterattack.
Yeah, nice counter initiation, but at this point they're already in a pretty dominating position. The Roar, Gabby with the BKB. Nightstalker is actually just such a busted hero. 50% attack slow, or 50 attack slow, 50% move speed slow, and a 900 AoE.
Okay, here's the Aegis Snatch.
See, I would have liked this if you actually got this, and you had the second one beforehand, like you get the back-to-back ones.
I wanted to see the one where there was a huge team fight, and Techies was not there, but rather just mining the pit. That was my favorite because
that's
really,
the play we would actually vote for. Is like Techies wasn't there. All right, great.
Gyro triple kill. Always nice to see. Plenty of damage on him in the later game.
I really like this.
You complained about the damage early on, but he did get it in the end.
No, yeah, it's one of those things like you want to wait for that big hero to come in and just do something amazing and take his game, and that's exactly what happened. Both these, I want to go for 3 and 4 because both time it's like when the rapier comes the first time, then the rapier gets delivered the second time, and TNC didn't see it coming both times.
And he died incredibly fast. The issue was just, of course, they couldn't do this unless they were on the defensive. But as you can see, this was a huge turnaround and could have theoretically turned the game around, but alas, was not to be.
Okay, well, they're your 4. You can vote on those right now, and then after the break, or a little bit later on, Purge will break them down. Talking of breaks, we are headed to a break right now here at ESL 1 Hamburg, but don't go too far away, because the very often loved cosplay contest is coming up next. We'll see you soon.
We rise up